Ah, what's up, people? I'm actually here. Give me a sec, I'm just booting the game up. I haven't gotten to play on the new patch yet, so I was just finishing a download on it. I thought I had already updated, but apparently not. Thankfully, it didn't take too long. Yeah, I mean, the new patch looks interesting. I haven't gotten a chance to test anything out yet. I've been pretty busy the last few days. I mentioned it on my last stream, I think. Started working out again. It's been freaking exhausting. It's been a while since I was doing it as regularly as I am now. And it's kicking my ass. And then on top of other things that I'm working on, I haven't really gotten a whole bunch of time to mess around with the new stuff. So we're going to see how it plays out here. We got our first opponent already messaging us, so let me get in there. Let me make sure everything is set up on the stream. Okay, it looks good. What? Oh. That'd be why. So it's Meat Apostate. Apostate is a really good player. And has been... Oh, wow. Is actually playing Khorne. Has been somebody that I've played pretty evenly into. Pretty often. This is actually going to be really interesting because it's a mirror match. It doesn't really matter what map we play on, does it? Lost Temple of Sotek, Hashit's Oil Fields. I don't actually know what map I want to ban here. Let's ban Temple. Lost Temple of Sotek is an interesting map, but not one that I really want to play on right now. I don't think it really works super great for Khorne, just because it's a mirror. It doesn't really matter what we're playing on anyways at this point. But I would like a map where it might be a little bit easier for me to maneuver around while I get my bearings back up. Very curious what build Apostate is going to be playing. Okay, we're going to Dust Bowl. The flattest map in the game. Okay. Give me a sec while I get my army situated. The Khorne mirror is pretty straightforward. It's definitely one of those matchups where there is a very definable like power structure to your army. Usually doesn't go too off the rails if you hew to it, so that's what we're going to be trying to make work here. Okay, that's not going to work. Alright, that works for me. Okay, sure thing. Alright. Well, that was a quick, that was a pick of a lifetime right there, man. Took us about 2 seconds to get our builds situated, so we're gonna get in here. Best of luck to my opponent. Seeing how we pull this off here. Welcome, welcome, guys. So it's a pretty straightforward map. It's just 3 objectives all up in a line. There's absolutely no terrain on this map. Literally, it's just, you know, flat and nondescript, barren desert, but it is in a pretty cool little arena. There's all kinds of nice little terrain features. I love the details on the outer bands of a lot of the maps. You know, just because the battle area is pretty straightforward and basic, doesn't necessarily mean that the rest of the map has to be that way. So let's see what we can do. We got Scarbrand, we've got some Blood Beasts, we've got our very typical triple Marauder Horseman. Maybe I went a little too hard into the infantry. If my opponent brought a bunch of shenanigans in the mobility game, we could be in a little bit of trouble, but we can always bunker up with our infantry force on one point and try and, like, catch the mobility in a snare just by having all of my infantry stuck up together, getting a good rampage with Scarbrand, and then throwing axes can just absolutely fill everything full of lead, I guess. Alright, just make sure that we're swapped over. We've got the Bloodbrute Gorgon. We've got the Hellforged Bellowers over here. The Bellowers is a little scary. We're going to get up here and we're going to start throwing javelins immediately at this guy. Because we should be able to bulldoze through them pretty fast with the throwing axes. They just do so much damage. They will be pretty quick to actually kill him. We can even hit Valkia. Valkia can get run over in this matchup pretty easily. Just because she's pretty defensive, right? She's got some pretty decent combat stats. But Scarbrand is just absolutely vicious. He really does kind of pummel her pretty terribly. I'm gonna get a breath attack off here. We're gonna move up over here. Let's get up in there, start attacking, and we'll get our Minos up. Because they're gonna be very useful here. Get a unit up over here. We're gonna press a little bit. We're gonna pull back. We'll get Scarbrand out of here. He's a little overextended, but we should be all right. As long as he doesn't get totally trapped in here. Oh my god, please no. Not like this. Why is he not getting away? What is going on in there? Scarbrand! Dude, come on. God, his mass sucks, dude. He's supposedly got 5,000 mass, and then he just stands in combat and gets his ass kicked all the time. Which is just absolutely horrible. We could be in trouble here. With him being stuck in that fight like that, him not escaping like he should be. Can we get out of here? That's okay. Minotaurs are fighting a bunch of infantry, not really what I want them to be doing. Getting up in the fight. We've got infantry and bloodletters fighting in here, which is good. And we're killing the Hellforged Bellowers and stuff pretty good right now. Just keep our Fleshhounds back, and, you know, Scarbrand got his ass kicked, but we should be alright. Alright, we killed this thing. Let's get up there, and we're gonna kill the other, and then we'll get the horsemen to do some work against the big monsters. We got more bloodletters coming in. We can get the Hounds of the Blood Hunt out, which will be really nice. They'll be able to do some pretty good work. And we just need to keep our boy Scarbrand away from the super scary Gorgon here. Which I think we're going to be able to bully pretty thoroughly. It's looking alright for us. We've had a little bit of trouble, but we're doing pretty well, all things considered. We're going to get these Minos, we're going to get a rear charge with the Hounds of the Blood Hunt here, and now we can send Scarbrand back in to maybe kill Valkia. Look, the big thing about winning in domination mode is just that you don't overextend yourself. I did make a mistake early, but I've done a pretty good job of finding my way back into this without over-stressing myself and my army. And now we're going to get a really nice rampage on Valkyrie, and we're probably going to just kill her outright. And the Blood Brute Behemoth is just too vulnerable to missiles, dude. It just gets absolutely run over by stuff like that. It cannot get shot at all. It's a fairly lightly armored unit. It's decently tough. It just can't withstand, like, focus fire from units for too long, is the big issue. And, you know, in the Khorne Mirror match, decisive engagements typically are going to win you the game. That's been, like, the big determiner of the game so far. I'm going to get a Bloodletter out. It's going to be my next summon. I could save up for an Exalted, but I think I just need a basic Bloodletter here. I'm going to get these dudes over. See if we can go finish off the big monster there. Alright, we killed the other Skull Cannon. We could just charge some stuff down here. We're going to look for a Breath Attack with Scarbrand here. Those guys go down. We get the win here. His throwing axes are doing damage to me, but nothing too terrible. Let's see what Scarbrand gets done with this Breath Attack. That was very mid. Thank you, Scarbrand. And we did not kill the big beastie over here. That's okay, though. Okay, screening me out a little bit. That's okay. We're gonna pull around. Scarbrand's chilling. Do get charged down, but we're gonna get some dudes out here, some more blood beasts, and they're gonna be really clutch in the mid game here. It's a good charge, don't get me wrong. My opponent's definitely got me on the back foot a little bit in some areas, but mostly we're all right. We've got the value lead right now, and we do have our good old boy Scarbrand in here doing some serious work. We're gonna rampage Valkyrie to the ground now and kill her. One good shot from Scarbrand here will 100% finish her off. We're gonna pop the thing here. The horn. That way we've got the extra melee attack. We're gonna unsummon these guys. Getting kited around a little bit, that's fine. I would summon Furies in, but the Furies I need, not really for, I don't really need them for doing damage, per se. Not to the Horsemen, but rather the Furies are here to, like, charge down stuff like Blood Beasts from the rear. And pull out. The throwing axes have been absolutely devastating so far. We're gonna get the charge off here. These Blood Beasts are gonna move over. Scarbrand's gonna pull out so he doesn't die somehow. We're gonna get over here and charge this stuff off the field. These guys are gonna get unsummoned as well. I'm even gonna pop the Relentless Rage on these Horsemen, just to keep them in the fight a little longer. Okay. God, that was a messy game, honestly. That could have gone really bad for me if Scarbrand getting caught early hadn't have been worked around. Like, I was able to retreat him eventually. He still ended up getting better value than Valkyrie and the Blood Brute Behemoth, thanks to my Horsemen. I mean, the Horsemen did the heavy lifting here. They're just absolutely ridiculous. They do so much damage. They just shred through just about everything. And you know, Khorne is already weak to kite. When you add Scarbrand into the mix with his rampages, and you can force your opponent to take even worse fights, it's pretty amazing. It's kind of funny, honestly, that the Khorne mirror devolves into who can kite the other Khorne player around the most, and who can farm the most value with their throwing axes is really the idea. You bring Scarbrand because he beats up on a lot of the big monsters that Khorne has. And he just annihilates Skulltaker and Valkia. So we got an early win here, which is huge. Winning in the first round is a necessity in tournaments because it gets you good matchups for the future in terms of op points. If you lose in the first round and you have to grind back in, you run into problems because your opponents are going to have fewer victories, more than likely. And then your chances on getting into the top 4 look a lot worse as a result because you just don't have... like, one, you already lost in the first round, so you have to play flawlessly through the rest of the games. And then your opponent... in the second round, maybe somebody else who's going to be like a top 4 contender lost in the first. And they can get you a bunch of op points by sweeping out the last 2 opponents. But that's not necessarily the most likely thing in the world, especially when tournaments are a little bit smaller like this one is. I think there's, what, 16 people here? Yeah, I think 16, but I do think that not everybody checked in. 1, 2... 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah. I don't know. It's just nice to get that first one under my belt. Yeah, what's up, Iceman? Looking for some Khorne pointers. I hope I did a decent job of describing how the mirror match goes. It would have been nice to play against another faction, but the Khorne mirror is honestly not terrible. You don't have to bring Scarbrand, necessarily. He just makes things a lot easier for you in the mobility game, because he helps you punish so hard, which is why I go with him. You can bring Skulltaker on the Shrine, and Valkia can work, but Valkia you have to play very carefully with. She basically comes in the Khorne Mirror to exclusively go after stuff like the Minotaur Great Weapons to try and kill. Because the Minotaurs have a hard time hitting her with how much melee defense she's got. And then obviously she's got her own anti-large bonus that she just thrives using. Demon Shield is good for popping whenever you take a big engagement against a character like Scarbrand. And then you can bring somebody like Karanak or even Syla. Syla and Valkia is actually a pretty nice combo. Because if you cut down Syla's abilities and just do Kill for Khorne, maybe Brass Collar, but in the mirror match I don't think Brass Collar is going to be very useful. And you just use this guy for the rampages and his weapon strength and decent HP totals with Unbreakable, he can really, like, pound your opponent. Kill for Khorne does a lot of damage. You know, it's got a pretty big radius and it's AP, and this isn't affected by the spell resistance as far as I know. I've done testing on it, it doesn't seem to do any less to Khorne 8 units. So... He's a good hero to have in the bank if you're going to be going into the mirror and you're afraid of your opponent's big baddie in the form of Scarbrand. But the throwing axes are an absolute must in the mirror. You literally can't function without them because your opponent will farm you if you're sitting back too much. Or if you're like trying to get into their face and they just have their throwing axes right behind the front line. We're going to try and play better this next game. My other faction is Beastmen. Depending on who we play, I may go for something a little out of the box. If we get, like, Circia, or scrambled egg. We'll go for a something a little bit funky, because both those guys do like to go fairly off meta at times, I've noticed. Circia is playing Empire in the second rounds, but who is Scrambled Egg on? Grand Cathay and Beastmen. Holy crap, I don't want to get another frickin' mirror match. That would not be stupendously fun. It is very possible, I suppose, that we get that. Welcome, welcome. Just chatting a little bit right now. Oh, we finished our game so freaking early. Trying to think of what we could get up to in the meantime. Oh, I know what we can do. Well, we do want to be in skirmish for this. Just gotta swap over to land battle, and we'll get, Itza. I remembered what I wanted to test. I wanted to see how Seekers perform now. I'll get this guy on foot, so we can just have the Seekers kind of run around and swat stuff. And we're going to try and send them into some fights that theoretically wouldn't be incredible for them, just to see if they are still crazy unbalanced. How they do against Khorne Minotaurs will be a pretty good indication of where their current power level is at. And we might even, you know, use one to try and kill the Chaos Lord of Khorne, because the big problem with the Seekers in the last few patches was they piled into combat too efficiently. Their stats are way too high for all of that, and they had a ton of weapon strength. They just shredded everything, especially single entities. They were wickedly overtuned against monsters of any type. They were like Khorne on steroids, basically. And then on top of that, they've got Vanguard deploy. Like, look at this. You can deploy all the way up in your opponent's face on this map, too. Very funny. Okay, I don't have it debuffed in any way, so we're just gonna have our Seekers engage the Minos. I want to see how they do in the head up, because previously the Seekers would actually outtrade the Minotaurs on the initial charge, and depending on how the melee attacks shook out, they could even beat the Minos. You can see here, they're still doing nasty damage. Oh my god. But it does look like the Minotaurs somewhat win. One Mino is losing, but this Minotaur actually kind of won this engagement. We get the rear charge here. You can see they still do a ton of damage getting that devastating flanker off. Well, this Minotaur here is now losing a little bit. They look a little less ridiculous, but not that much less. Still seem crazy strong. Oh, and I forgot Minotaurs got Woodsman. And they can hide. Previously they couldn't. Where is it? There it is. There's on the tooltip. Khorne used to not have this, or the ability to hide in forests, so it was very obvious whenever they were on the field. And it really sucked, because you do kind of want the ability to hide your monsters' infantry at times. I'm really glad that they got it back, because it really didn't make sense that Minotaurs were not capable of fighting in trees. You know, they're just like these brutishly powerful monstrosities. They should be able to just, like, crush through undergrowth and just annihilate everything. Let's see how the Seekers do, just trying to grind through this character. Wow, they are shredding him. Holy crap. Okay. Look how tall this guy is. I never noticed how big he was. He's the same height as the Seeker models. That's wild, dude. If only that guy was as strong as his character was tall, right? Because the Chaos Lord of Khorne is kind of bad. He's got like a situational niche on his horse and maybe like 1 or 2 matchups, but that's about it. It's a little too expensive in my opinion for how little HP he has. If you're a little bit more durable, it would be pretty nice. Got like 500 more HP. I'd really love him. So Seekers still seem pretty gross. They're not nearly as broken. I mean, they're not, like, shredding this guy to pieces immediately, at least. They definitely are, they're definitely not that much less powerful. Because they did still kind of brutalize the Minotaurs. And, you know, I understand that Minos don't have, like, magic damage to get around the physical resistance, but usually Minotaurs against stuff like cavalry do pretty well because the Minos' weapon strength is big enough that they can kill like multiple models on cavalry pretty easily. Maybe that physical resistance is just enough to avoid the weapon strength, but I don't know. It still sucks to have a 1350 gold unit get beat by something that's 1000 gold in a head-up fight, which kind of happened in one of the engagements. And you know, Slaanesh is always going to have a mobility advantage with how quick their units are, plus the fact that they've got poison. But the fact that they got nerfed a little bit, because they did lose the radius got increased, so they don't pile in as efficiently. They lost some weapon strength. They lost 4 AP, got 4 base weapon damage added, and they lost 2 melee attack. That might be enough to get them to a point where they're less abusive, and you can face check them a little better, because the problem previously, like the idea behind Slaanesh is that Slaanesh loses if they have to stay engaged in combat. So basically what the idea for countering Slaanesh on paper is to face check them in every fight on the battlefield. You couldn't do that previously, because they would just win with Seekers in the head-up fights, and then you would cry, and they would just take over mobility and win the game that way. I think maybe now with the Seeker nerfs, it's going to be a little bit more manageable, but time will definitely tell. I wouldn't be too surprised if, at the end of the day, Seekers still end up getting limited a little bit. It's been a recurring theme that units like this tend to just be a little bit overpowered on the scaling, just because of the ability to constantly find good fights. Like having Strider and then Devastating Flanker is already good enough, but all on top of like really solid stats with 100 speed and poison. God damn, they really need all of that. Because the biggest issue is that every time you try to disengage from Seekers, if they are able to just like chase after the unit, they're never gonna you're never gonna be able to outrun them. And when you're retreating from Seekers, Devastating Flanker gets procced. And it's really funky because you can be in a fight with one unit attacking the Seekers, and you try to retreat with another unit, and because one unit turned its back to the Seekers, their Devastating Flanker procs, and depending on when it procs in the fight, you can have the Seekers like fighting against your other unit at like peak efficiency as a result. It's a little funky. Any other tests I want to run? I don't recall there being anything huge for balance changes in the multiplayer side of things. It's mostly campaign, but let me go take a peek again. I do appreciate the magic item rework from you over. This is actually really cool. I might get back into campaign a little bit. I don't play it a whole lot, but I have enjoyed it plenty in the past, obviously. I just haven't felt a hankering for it in a while, but just having, like, new and better items to find in campaign actually does make a big difference, because a lot of the items were pretty horribly unbalanced or just terrible. a lot of the time, and you just find the same stuff over and over again, and it was just kind of boring playing campaigns as a result sometimes. The new, like, Burning Books is kind of interesting. Oh, we gotta try out the new units. Let's do that, actually. I think we got time. The counts. Yeah, Blood Knights. They have a bronze shield. Same leadership, better melee attack and melee defense, which is cool. They don't have amazing armor piercing. Charge bonus is nice at 48, especially for something that's designed to kill infantry. We've got the Frenzy and the Hunger. I'm kind of curious. Let's choose something fairly tanky to fight into. Just get some Chaos Warriors to go after. And I do think I want to test these guys out with a little bit of, like, magic and healing. Just because that is kind of, like, one of the most important things to do for vampire counts to support your elites. Just to see what kind of boost they get in terms of efficiency in the combats. In theory, based on their stats on paper, they should perform pretty well into Chaos Warriors of Khorne. Even in a head-to-head. It might take them a little while to chew these guys down. But 21 armor piercing, honestly, really isn't terrible. And they do have the bonus versus infantry is 16, which is kind of crazy. That's pretty significant. A lot of bonus versus infantry amounts are, you know, like 5, 10, thereabouts on Cav. These guys having 16 is going to make them way more effective, because a lot of infantry is actually quite weak on the melee defense front when you're talking about the extra little bit of melee attack from the bonus being factored in. So small little differences can make a huge impact for these kinds of head-up engagements. Wow, they got pretty good damage on the charge. How are they doing in the sustained fight? Pretty, oh my god, pretty incredible. Holy crap. Whoa. How do they do Van Hells? I mean, it seems to give them a little bit of extra punching power. Nothing too crazy. We'll get the little charge off here. We can heal them up, obviously. I don't really need to. More than anything, I just want to test the waters of how they do grinding into heavily armored stuff. It looks like they just absolutely body Chaos Warriors. Okay. I know I gave him a buff spell, but it's not like the craziest thing in the world. It's only 24 melee attack. They were still winning pretty comfortably even without it. How are these guys gonna do? Oh, they're fine. Oh, and yeah, let's see what they can do with a surround on a character. That's pretty gross. I mean, as I suspected, the lack of AP, the lack of majority AP specifically, does mean that they're not, like, the most efficient thing in the world in terms of, like, shock damage against these armored warriors, but they can actually hold the line pretty freaking effectively, which I'm pretty impressed by. And Chaos Warriors of Khorne put a lot of damage out. They are no joke when it comes to the damage output. They hit pretty friggin' hard, so them beating them that squarely makes me think they could be an auto-include into some of the more infantry-heavy matchups that you run into. And they might even be exceptionally powerful against Khorne. We've got one unit that we really have to test them against, which is the Wrathmongers. So let's do that real quick before we get our next opponent. Wrathmongers, for the longest time, pretty much since Omens came out, have been an absolute nightmare for the Vampire Counts. I mean, they literally have not had answers for this unit. It's been pretty single-handedly carrying the win rate for Khorne against the Counts. Because they just kill chaff like crazy. I mean, they can get like 700-800 kills if all they do is fight zombies and skeletons. They will never, ever take damage against those things. You can't really Mortis Engine these guys down either, because they do so much damage to the Mortis Engine. They kill Cryptors, they kill Vargeist, they kill regular Blood Knights. They're pretty unmanageable. Maybe the decent stats on the Blood Knights, though, can flip this around. Because with the bonus versus infantry, they actually theoretically have enough melee attack to hit around the melee defense these dudes have. I'm gonna give them Van Hills real quick. Get in here. The Bloodwake Berserkers are running away. They don't get their charge in. It's not super important. Wow, they actually are taking some pretty vicious damage. They start giving it right back, though. Just a one-on-one grind, who wins? Wrathmongers. Alright, the Wrathmongers win a sustained fight. They do take half their HP, though. So, like, with the cycle charging from Blood Knights, you should pretty easily be able to beat these guys. Yeah, look at the brutal damage that your Blood Knights put down. The Wrathmongers are still pretty amazing, though. With some good cycle charging, you can actually kill them now, though. Look at them, just holding until the end of frickin' time, too. Oh my god. It's a lot of unnecessary damage to take on the Blood Knights. They didn't need to be sitting in here like this. Let's land in with the Red Duke. Pop a heal. Pop a Van Hells. I don't know what the Blood Knights are doing there. Very weird. We're not able to get a clean surround on the character. It's kind of funky. I haven't seen Cavalry do that in a minute. Just kind of like milling about, not really sure how they surround stuff. It was a little funny looking. Yeah, I mean, they've got 95 leadership. 100 leadership is functionally unbreakable, so the Wrathmongers are just 5 off of that, with the Lord standing near them and getting the Encourage. It kind of makes sense that they just don't break, so... it looks like there's at least something of an answer for the Vampire Counts now, to attack the Bloodwake Berserkers. It's probably not a unit you want to bring in the opener. I don't know if you need the Blood Knights with the swords immediately against Khorne, because you also need to contend with the Throwing Axes, and Throwing Axes will just farm Blood Knights, period. Even the anti-large version. Do need to be a little bit careful with those engagements, and there's obviously Minotaurs of Khorne who usually lose to the Blood Knight Lances. That's another thing we should test. Let's see what a Mino versus the Blood Knights can do. Hopefully the Minotaurs aren't stupid and just let the Blood Knights get the free charge off. Is the next round up? I think they're playing out one other game. We'll be into the next round after that. So, stay tuned, folks. We're basically just playing until we lose. By the way. Alright, minor great weapons. They hopefully charge into us. No self-respecting Khorne player is gonna allow their Minotaurs to get caught unless they really fumble the bag, so... the charge bonus is gonna be a pretty good indicator for how well they do against the Blood Knights here. Minotaurs win on the charge a little bit. Nothing too insane. How do they do in the sustained grind? They probably should still win this. This is what I was talking about with the Minos and the cavalry. I mean, it's just the weapon strength on these guys. They just chew through calves so efficiently with the weapon strength. Because their splash damage with 123 weapon strength plus the bonus versus large, they spread the damage out across the models pretty efficiently. And they just absolutely wreck the Blood Knights. Holy crap. Okay, so a head-to-head is very favored for those Minos. So that does add a little bit of an extra dimension to the matchup. Khorne probably still is favored into the vampire counts. Having a single answer, though, for the Wrathmongers does probably bring that matchup at least somewhat back to neutral. Instead of just being wildly Khorne favored, I would say it's probably closer to like 55-45 for Khorne now. Yeah, they've been winning 60% of games. I imagine that'll even out a little bit as we go along. Although it does seem like the vampire counts figured it out a little bit, because early in the season on Total Tavern, it was like 88% in Khorne's favor, and it was like 10-0 against the vampire counts at one point. It was absolutely crazy. It's evened out some. I don't know what's contributing to that. I still think it is very Khorne favored, but maybe it's just folks like Maximillionaire finding some answers and then maybe beating up on some newer folks. Just because Khorne is very popular, you know. They're usually one of the most played factions on the statistics. Wood Elves actually are the highest played rate right now behind Wood Elves, it seems like. Counts are up there. Oh my god, Dark Elves by a mile, though. Holy crap. I'm just looking at the numbers here for gameplay. Tzeentch very unpopular. Grand Cathay also pretty unpopular. Vampire Coast looks like they're the least played faction. I know Slaanesh has got way less games played on it, but that's because Slaanesh is banned all the time. They might get unbanned a little bit now. Chaos Demons are down there also. What actually looks to be like middle of the pack, I guess, in terms of pick rate for tournaments. Dower right there in the middle. Yeah, Dark Elves are way up there in the pick rate. I would have never guessed, dude. Dark Elves are not bad. They've got some good matchups. I mean, they beat Khorne pretty handily. Really good into Bretonnia, not surprising. High Elves, I'm a little surprised by. I would figure that High Elves are actually pretty good into the Dark Elves, because you got Burning Head to kill all of their Bleak Swords and stuff, and you've got really powerful characters for the High Elves that can kind of bully all of the dragons that the Dark Elves can bring, as well as their cheaper options. But maybe it's the High Beastmaster for the Dark Elves, counterfiring those big characters. Maybe that's part of the reason the Dark Elves are doing so well. Scourge Runners are always pretty dangerous, I guess. I'm not very familiar with the ins and outs of the Dark Elf meta nowadays. Got a lot of even matchups here. Kislev, Chaos Dwarves. A lot of their good matchups are under some pretty solid factions. Vampire Counts is a pretty good faction to have a 44% win rate against. Because you can see the Counts do dominate a lot of matchups. Everything at 60% and up is just horrendously unfavorable for whatever faction's trying to play into the Counts. Ogre Kingdoms is a little surprising, honestly. I really wouldn't have figured Ogres would have such a bad time. But maybe it's because lead belchers just get chewed up so badly. They are one of the best ways to clear out chaff for the Ogre Kingdoms. Yeah, the immune to flanking is one of the more underrated passives on units. I think it's one of the best. I think it goes perfect vigor, immune to psychology, maybe even as good as the third best. What are some of the other like bound passives? I mean, Frenzy is pretty damn good. It's kind of hard to turn your nose up at it. I don't know if it's so incredible that I would put it that high on the list. Talking about a lot of these little passives is pretty important. Oh, Strider. So, yeah, Perfect Vigor, ITP, Strider, and then I would say Immune to Flanking is like the top 4 for best passives on units. Immune to Flanking is really rare as well. There's only a handful of units that have it. You got Bastillodons who've got it, which they really need it because they will get folded up otherwise. The Leviathans have it. Here they are. They really need it as well. Having it on an infantry unit is pretty unique. It's not really something that you see very often. And you can tell from the other types of units that have it that it's pretty interesting to have it applied onto a unit that this is this strong. I mean, the way you get around it is just shoot them to death. They're very vulnerable to poke. I think most factions have a pretty good answer to the Bloodwake Berserkers nowadays. There's definitely a few that really struggle against them, though. Okay, we got Falling Star for our opponent, so we'll get into her lobby, and we'll get it rolling. We get Beastmen versus Lizardmen, which is a really fun matchup. Okay. Let's get away from the leaderboards. It's not where we want to go. Battle of the Eternal Tides. Endless Vampire Coast? What? Don't know what that was. Anyways. Let's get in here. What do we want to bring against the Lizardmen? We'll figure it out. Shouldn't be too hard to counterpick them. Yeah, Dark Elves are just really popular with newer folks, and they're a very micro-intensive faction, so that's why their win rate is kind of in the pits. It's not because the faction itself is bad or anything. Just, like, when newer folks are playing them and they run into, like, more experienced players, they're maybe not using the kite to, like, its fullest prowess. And they're losing some really close games would be my bet for why the Dark Elves are at 45%. Because honestly, the Dark Elves probably should be up around 50%. Just based on how hard they counter some factions. At least in my experience. I mean, Khorne is just horrendously disadvantaged against all of the shooting and mobility. Anyways, let me flip away for a minute. Let me pick my army. So let's have fun with the Beastmen. Always a good time playing them. And we'll see what we can get done to walk away with a victory. It's going to be a little tough. I mean, the Lizards are pretty dangerous overall, I would say. There are definitely some very powerful units that the Beastmen have that you can lean back on and really hound down the Lizardmen forces with. That's kind of the game plan I'm going to be going for here. A couple of these guys, a couple of Dems. What am I looking for here? Ooh. Let's actually try this out. Honestly, don't hate this. Definitely need some of these guys. A couple of those. One more of them. One of these. How do I round out the rest of my army? Do I need 2 of these guys? Nah, I don't think I need 2 of them. Big commitment into that unit. One sec, guys. Just trying to figure out what exactly it is that I need to shove in here for the last few units. Actually, don't know if I want those guys. One of these. No, but I don't need answers for that unit. I've got plenty for... Sure. Actually feeling like maybe I've got a unit in here that I'm actually a little bit divided on bringing. I actually don't know if I want them, truth be told. I feel like they're just actually going to be a huge liability for me. So I might leave them off entirely and go with something a little bit better, in fact. These guys the answer? They're pretty tough. I think they're too expensive, though. Okay. Oh, I forgot about map bans. And I'm top of the bracket, so I actually have to pick first. Okay. Done with my army, so... I built it. I'll bring you guys back, and I'll figure out what exactly I don't want to be doing playing into my opponent. What does Ruins of Arrogance even look like? Oh, it's this map. Against the Lizardmen, I actually don't hate that. We're gonna ban Bleakspire. I actually think that's a pretty bad map for Beastmen, honestly. There's too much broken ground here. Like, the terrain features aren't so unfavorable that you can't work around it, but Beastmen really do like to be able to maneuver without having to, like, run around big blocks of boulders and garbage. Being able to constantly have your Cynagors in position to punish your opponent is pretty massive. That's what I really want to go for. I didn't exactly build my army for any of the maps that we'd be playing on, but Beastmen don't really do that too often. Beastmen, generally speaking, have just, you know, like, the access to, like, speed, as well as Strider on a few critical units. Woodsman is really nice. It means that you can take fights in any forest terrain, basically, and get up trades against your opponent, which is pretty amazing. And you don't have a lot of artillery as the Beastmen, so, you know, you're not really looking to find maps where you can position it, per se. Like, the biggest thing that you want to take into account as the Beastmen is just where your vanguards are going to be on a map. You want to be on maps, preferably, where the vanguards are as aggressively far forward as possible, so your opponent has longer to run, and you can take advantage of the shorter route to the objectives. We're going to play Ruins of Arrogance, which is going to be really fun here. Okay. There are a few units that the Lizards can bring that I'm really worried about. Definitely stuff that I've got to work around, but we should be relatively okay. I've got a very powerful lore of magic for this matchup that I think is going to do a lot of work for us. A lot of work. Like, Mega Mondo big time kind of performance. Probably not the one that you think, either. Let's go look at the patch notes while we're waiting on Falling Star. So, trait changes in campaign. I think super notable here. More campaign stuff, technology. Now affected by Gaze of the Dark Gods. I need to get in here and know what any of this is. Here's some of the general changes. Some of these actually affect multiplayer. Not huge, but it makes a little bit of a difference. Like the Minotaurs, obviously, they got their Woodsman and Hide, which is massive. Like, Minotaurs being able to fight in woods now actually is going to help Khorne out tremendously, because Khorne actually really does want to be able to fight over forests so that you can avoid kite a little bit. There are actually a lot of maps in the Total Tavern Pack that you could be using Khorne to, like, aggressively flank onto objectives with Minotaurs. But the fact that they were so slow moving through trees, and if your opponent got in there with some units and could isolate them so easily while they were debuffed, was a big pain in the ass. And they can hide, so now you can actually flank around with them all sneaky-like, which is pretty awesome. So they can potentially get some ambushes off. You've got speed as Khorne to be able to execute plays like that. And Alarielle got martial prowess on the Eagle, which is pretty awesome. She lost it during Warhammer 2, I'm pretty sure. Because she was pretty cracked back then, with all the heals. She's a lot more reasonable now. That might help her tremendously in the current meta, where she just gets bullied when she's on the Eagle mount. Just bring her on a horse, generally speaking. Run her around. Let's get back into the game. Falling Star's ready. I'm ready. OBS. Come on. What are you doing? Okay, here we go. Very cool. Shrine to Cain. More big shrines to everybody's favorite angry elf god. I assume this is on a black arc or something. I don't know what is going on outside the box here. The skybox is beautiful, but if you just look off the edge of the map, you see the weird borders around the edges. It's a little haggard looking, but everything else looks pretty amazing. And, like, you know, you've got the walls here, so it's not, like, super obtrusive in your face. You got a weird little, Sarlacc pit over here. I don't know what the hell that is. Forbidden, Slaneshi goodness. You know, Georgia O'Keeffe approved. Finally some gameplay, for real. That's how tournaments are sometimes. We just sit and chill, you know. I try to find something for us to either test units or just sit and talk. Me blather a little bit. Do want to get my reps in. See if we can beat Falling Star. They're really talented. And I'm a little rusty right now. I haven't had a lot of opportunities to play the last, like, week or two. Tried to play in a tournament a few days ago, and stuff came up and I wasn't able. We did get a win in round 1. So we got our guy. He's going to be on the chariot here. We're going to use Spirit Leech and Fate of Buna to just, like, wreck whatever lord our opponent's got. We could Vanguard up onto the number 1, but I don't actually think I want to. Let's see. It's a huge Lizardmen army. There's 17 units starting out, so it's like a ton of skinks. There's probably not going to be a lot of Saurus on the field, which is fine by me. I'm totally chill with my opponent not bringing a bunch of Saurus. Our spears are going to be the back line here. I got a bunch of Zangors just to hold. I got a Gorbel to bully, and basically we're going to be trying to snipe whatever lord our opponent brought with the Spirit Leech. And then Fate of Buna is going to be really nice. And we've got answers for lots of stuff with Razorgore Chariots. They can run it over. And Centaurs coming out in the late game are going to be really nice for, like, sweeping up my opponent's units. The Razorgore Herd are really pretty much exclusively going to be used to to counter the Cold One Riders. They actually do really good into Cold Ones on the charge. Fate of Buna can help me get a leg up in the mobility game early, and then maybe we can just like wind the game down over time by forcing our opponent to just play honestly into me. Don't wanna... I don't think so. We're going for a value trade type of build. It's how I prefer to play the Beastmen anyways. My opponent didn't Vanguard over here, so let's get up on the point immediately. And keep our boy back here. We got a Bastillodon Solar Engine. Oh, we need to get you in Group 3, Group 4. Let's get up here. Get all our stuff over. We got a lot of Skink Skirmishers. That's fine. They're not that scary. Cohen Spear Riders. 17, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We got a red... Oh my god. We got like the perfect Lord to go bully with Spirit Leech, actually. Oh, this is beautiful. Okay. First summon is the Razorgore Chariot. It's going to be awesome. It's going to do a lot of work for me. And Zangors are awesome because they just eat fire from enemy stuff for breakfast and don't care. So let's hide behind the pillar with our Lord. Let's start hitting the Skink Chief. We got a little bit of overcast damage, but nothing too serious. Should put these guys on a guard mode. Let's get up and poke a little bit. Zangors are getting shot up a little bit, which is fine. Nothing too terrible. Move in some. Let's attack. What is this? Oh, Flock of Doom. Just get away while that's active. Nice little bit of damage. You're gonna pull back. Get a Razorgore over. The Gorbel can kind of go in. Why are these guys so stretched out right now? Not great. That's okay, though. Let's get the Grog Hooves out. Another Spirit Leech. Our Grog Hooves need to get back. Let's get our spears forward. They can sit for a bit. I'm going to run over these little skinks with the Razorgore Chariot. And then we're going to go through these guys here. We need to focus on shooting these salamanders up. Razorgore Chariots are disgusting. They are so cracked. It's pretty heinous what they can do to a lot of factions. What do I need? Synthes, for sure. It's a Skink Priest. Our opponent is pulling that guy back. Running over a lot of stuff here. Let's actually push and go crazy here. Because I think we've got the mobility edge now. And this will be really nice for me. And what we're going to do, we've got Fate of Buna in the back pocket, and we're going to be popping that real soon here, which is going to do a lot of heavy lifting for me. Shoot these guys. Sons of Goros going to get back a little bit. Winning there. Pushing in here. Charging down here. Fate of Buna going to be hitting... It's Cold One Spear Rider. Let's get these guys out of here. More Synthes. Yeah, Zangor is a little blobbed up right now. Not ideal for me. Need to charge down here. I'm losing a little bit of control on my army. I'm not doing a great job with everything. Where's my my Gorbel needs to go in here. Let's get this guy back. Let's charge these Feral Cold Ones. Scrap a little bit. And we did just absolutely crush one of the Cold Wind Spear Riders, which is amazing for me. Let's get up in here. I think we're going to be just fine. Some of the engagements are a little messy, but we need to unsummon this guy. We could get a Synagore all the way out on the flank here, which would be pretty nice. Coming in from an off angle to get after some of these cohorts. Those skinks are going down here. How's our value trading? It looks pretty good. We need to get all of these guys off of this Bastillodon. The Sons of Goros are going to go absolutely crazy out here to try and finish off a bunch of these units. We're going to get this one here. Get out. Yeah, the Groghooves, they got shot up pretty badly by javelins, which is not great. So let's get our Lord a little bit more active here. We've got the mobility edge for the most part here. Just need to make sure that our guys are continuing to charge in. Definitely some things that we need to be working on here. We've killed our opponent's Bastillodon there. It's just a feral, which isn't that big of a deal, I guess. Let's get after the solar engine and start beating it up. Let's get some Zangors out. They've been really strong this game. I don't envision that's going to change too much for the rest of this either. Anything up in here that I really need to deal with right now? Not really. I need all these infantry to maybe start getting out of here. Let's just shoot this guy down. Let's get the throwing axe up. And the Groghooves did rally. They got 26 models. Feral Cold Ones, Salamander Hunting Pack. I actually think killing the Salamander Hunting Pack right now is going to be pretty important. So we're going to actually do that. We got a big terror route going down on my army here. Let's get the Cinnies out, and the Zangors can hold in there and win that fight. Okay, my opponent's actually breaking through. Oh, there's Cold Wind Spear. Oh, there's regular Cold Wind Riders in here. Oh, okay. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Am I in trouble? Potentially. Some of my Centaur play has not been great. I will say that. Need to unsummon my units and make sure that I can get infantry in for the late game. Charge some of this stuff down. Kill this guy. My opponent's Lord is being very safe and not really under any threat right now. Let's get this out of here. Chasing here. We got a bunch of stuff running off over there. Korngor, probably just a Senti. There's a Cold Wind Riders. How much more magic do we have? We got one more Fate Up Una. I think we're going to be alright. Get up in here and take down this Cold Wind Rider, and then we can just have our infantry get up on this point and hold it for the rest of the game. Maybe we need to kill the solar engine now. Or the Sons of Goros, they're beat to hell. And this Centaur throwing axe is just off in the middle of nowhere doing nothing right now. We got it up on the point, albeit very temporarily. We got the route going. We get a Razorgore herd. Let's charge in here. Keep fighting. We save this point. That's great. We get our Lord out of here. One more Wind of Magic for Fate of Buna to kill this Cold Wind Rider. Just need these Zangors to hold a little bit longer. My opponent is coming for my back objective, but that's okay. We're gonna delay here, and I'm gonna bring out some more Sentis. They'll be really good for running down all the red-crested skinks here. I'm not that worried about the feral cold ones. Like, they're a solid unit, but they're a little unspectacular. We've got a very healthy chariot character, which should not be underestimated. The Razorgore mounts are kind of insane, quite honestly. They do a lot of work for the Beastmen. Those are Spear Riders, so we're gonna run away for a bit. We got our Senties, need to rally them over. Let's get them in group 2. We're gonna just shock down the red-crested skinks. These Razorgore herd gonna keep chasing. Zangor, reinforce, got the win there. Just need to keep running. We got the Gorble going in. Let's get the charge there and win that fight. We'll get our throwing axes. Just shoot the Spear Riders for a sec. And this Centaur is going to go help out these Gore Herder getting shot to death right now. So we're going to charge them in. Let's get some unsummons and try to get our units back out. Okay, the Senties are just absolutely farming the Paco Pot cohort right now, which is amazing news for me. Got the fight here. What do we want? Centaur. 100%. Senties in the late game are just so strong, dude. We're winning the mobility. Anytime the Beastmen win the mobility trades, it's a good day for them. Centaurs pull away from that fight and charge in here while we get our new, fresher units up there. These throwing axes can rotate over now. Yeah, the chariot mount, man, doing a lot of work for me. Let's go chase these guys. More Spear Riders coming up, which is fine. We've got the Zangor there. They're going to hold for quite a while yet. We're going to get a Razorgore herd forward. One of them got really solid value for me. I'm gonna actually push a little bit, and let's get these guys off of the Lord. So they can keep hounding down some of these other units. And Centaurs just run away from Coldwood Spear Riders. As much as you can, do not let them get caught. If I were to replay this immediately, I would not bring the Groghoops first. I would keep them in reserve, actually. They'd be a lot better off in reserve, truth be told. And get the volleys off. What do we want to bring onto that back objective? What's in here? It's like feral cold ones, a bunch of stuff like that. It's definitely a job for more Centaurs, of course. Get the charge off. We got the rear charge, no less, which is huge. Zangors are going to push away and get after these guys while the throwing axes finish. Actually, still able to wind down the time. Okay. Falling Star played that really well. There just wasn't a lot to punish my infantry, who held for a long time. Took a lot of effort to finish off. The Bray Shaman got 2,200 value, which is really cost-effective from him. Gorble paid for himself. Groghooves were kind of weak. The Razorgore herds, they were solid. Kind of paid themselves out. Centaurs were better in the late game. It was just a case of my mobility being just slightly more cost-effective than my opponents. Because the Spear Riders, none of these guys up-traded, which really isn't too dissimilar from how mine did for the most part. I had a couple of Senties do okay. Groghooves are a little weak. They're better as a reserve unit because they can come out and then they can just run over skinks all game. I'd probably get rid of them and get a couple of gore herds with the shields. And instead of having 2 Centaur throwing axes, I'd just have the Grog Hooves cut one of the Razor Gore and get a regular Centaur throwing axe. And that would be plenty. I brought so many throwing axes just in case the Shredder of Lustria was out on the field. My opponent went for a really cheap wide line instead. Some kind of Slaneshi butthole. For real. Oh, 3... dang, that's late, Nogus. I feel you, man. I've been pretty gassed the last, like, week or two. Every time I get home from the gym, I just want to lay down and nap, but I've been fighting the urge every single time because the whole point of me working out more often is so that overall I feel a little bit more energized on a regular basis. I need to stick to my guns. You know, the self-discipline. It's kind of hard to get into when things seem kind of ridiculous and out of sorts nowadays, because, you know... Oh, you were waiting on me. Okay. Okay. I'll mark it real quick. Thank you for reminding me. I'm the kind of forehead who forgets consistently. So we're going to be playing Khorne into somebody scary, I'm sure. Scrambled egg or Circia, probably. Yeah, Circia and Scrambled are still here. Had a couple of people drop. I'm not sure who. I think Solanius may have... No, Solanius is still here. Who dropped? Gondola, maybe? Apostate? No, Apostate's still here. Oh, it's definitely Gondola. That's okay. I hate having a drop for tournaments, but they go for so long sometimes it's, like, unavoidable. Stuff comes up all the time. It was a really scrappy fight, dude. Lizards are one of those factions that can just trade for days. And the cheap skinks for the Lizardmen is pretty terrifying, because they can pour numbers out in the late game when they need it. As well as having stuff like the Feral Cold Ones, right? Like 500 gold armor-piercing units like this are pretty hard to deal with. And, you know, the Beastmen do have something similar with their Razor Gore Herd, but Razor Gore Herd are quite a bit more expensive. They have a lot more HP, but less armor, which is a big trade-off in my opinion. I'd rather have armor than HP. Like, the 6100's nice, don't get me wrong, but leaves you a little vulnerable. You got more weapon strength, way more charge bonus, which is why the Piggies win the one-on-one. Same leadership, Feral Rage, but the Razor Gores have Strider, which is super clutch because all terrain penalties are ignored, which means even when they're running up and down hills, they're not bothered by it. Feral Cold Ones do get slowed when they run up hills, which is a little bad for them. Because they've got 70 speed, that's really not that fast. 70 is, you know, about in line with a lot of other heavy cav units. You got, like, the Colden Riders, who are just a little bit slower at 66. You compare that to the Empire Knights. Where's the Empire? Here they are. You can see these guys, the Empire Knight's a little bit quicker, so sometimes it's a little hard for Razor Gores and Feral Cold Ones to charge down the kind of targets they want to be engaged on. That's why they're more for a counter charge roll. You don't really want to just, like, YOLO them in. I did that a little bit that last game. And that did get me in a little bit of trouble against Falling Star there. We're going to make our lobby for Scrambled Egg. get him in here. Who was Scrambled Egg playing? I don't know why I'm looking here. Oh, Grand Cathay! Oh my god. Grand Cathay into Khorne is a lot tougher than you would think. This matchup has some risks for Khorne, quite honestly. You win really hard in the infantry trades, so really what Grand Cathay players should do against Khorne is just not play infantry, honestly, and go for like full mobility. It can be a little tough to deal with all of the numbers for Grand Cathay if they do that. We'll see what we can do. I'm gonna run to the restroom and I'll be right back. I'll be brainstorming some options while I'm gone. Oh, and before I go, I need to check. God, dude, I'd love to be able to pick the map for a change. That would be really nice. Damn. That's fine. I'll figure out my band when I get back. Alright. This is a matchup that the map is going to be very much dependent for how the game goes overall. We need to be very discerning about what map we end up playing. I need to go check on one of these. Hell is Womb of Sorrow? Oh, it's that really funky looking map. No way I'm playing Cathay on that. That is going to be hellishly difficult. I'm not doing it. It's too open. Both the other maps are just outright better. The other options were Scalandir's Cave, which is massive and has a ton of trees and stuff. I can play out of the forest pretty nicely there. And Chateau is the second option. I imagine Chateau my opponent really doesn't want to play on, and will end up on Scalandir's. Cathay does have pretty decent mobility. They can play Scalandir's just fine. As long as they've got the Onyx Chroman on the field to give Harmony to their units. If they run out of Harmony, that's where they end up in big trouble. At least in my experience. Oh, wow, we're playing on... What? Playing on Chateau? No way. I guess you can do some artillery here. I'm gonna flip away for a minute, and I'll get my build in order, and we'll see what we can do. Maybe a little tricky. I mean, like I said, Cathay definitely has some teeth in this matchup. They can do some pretty horrible stuff to you if you're not prepared for them. Don't build your army correctly. Obviously, we would very much like to avoid that as much as possible. This all looks really nice, very solid, nothing too out of the ordinary or vulnerable here. Only do one less of those. Maybe a couple of them? Oh. God, we could do the funniest thing of all time here. It's a big investment, though. Is this a unit that's gonna thrive here, though? Speed is fine. Got mobility. Nine. Let's see what utility this unit's going to provide me. Alright, so maybe we don't want that unit. Maybe we'll do this instead. Oh, that's right. Okay, this is actually a good opportunity to test out a new little something-something. So that's what we're going to do, in fact. Just 1 second, guys. Just fine-tuning the build. It's always like this. Last little bit of money is the most obnoxious to spend and whatnot. Plenty of those guys. One of these. One and 2 more. Okay, I mean, I am not 100% sure how this will work out, but I'm prepared now, I guess. What's the win rate for Cathay and a Khorne anyways? Probably pretty bad. Yeah, there's a better win rate for this matchup than a lot of their other ones. Very least. Alright. Let's go. Double Jabberslife would be awesome to play in a Grand Cathay. I've actually been really curious how good they would be here. I unfortunately don't get to do that. No such funsies allowed. We'll see though if my build is able to make something work here. I've got some pretty decent stuff, and we shouldn't have a horrible time playing out of the forest this game. Should be fairly doable at the very least. Yeah, that's pretty... 27 units, pretty big. It could be a full mobility opening from Cathay, which would be kind of tough. If it is, I think we'll be alright. I mean, we just gotta see what it is, right? I mean, there's no real way of knowing. Cathay is very much a faction that can go, like, full width on you, with just nothing to interact with your infantry. So I brought a little bit to try and counteract that in my reserves with, like, Blood Beasts. I actually brought some Chaos Knights. I really like them to countercharge Onyx Crowmen. They do ridiculous damage on the charge. Hounds of the Bloodhunt are really good here too, just because Crowmen are such a big menace. Blood Beasts tend to be pretty strong against Cathay. We're going to have our Minotaurs and these Marauders go up into the trees for a little bit. And we'll maneuver as needed with our Forsaken, is the goal here. I did swap over back. Yeah, I did. Okay. I'm just waiting for Scramble to be geared up. Theoretically, our Chaos Warriors go to the number 2 and they just hold there. They don't move the entire game. Bring out Bloodletters if we need to deal with mass infantry, which I really don't think we're going to run into. Furies can swarm guns. throwing axes can shoot cavalry as well as charge down stuff like crane gunners if we get an opportunity. If we're at a huge mobility disadvantage, we'll be in a little bit of trouble because it'll just take us so long to cap the points. Or at the very least to, like, not to cap the points, but to build up our responding units. Let's just get up here, though.
Devoted legion of killers.
Go.
I do not ask you to fight. I am
We'll
telling
go.
you to fight.
These guys need to make sure that they're actually in the trees. I want to bring them up to, like, right here, I guess. Okay, Celestial Lion, which I'm not super surprised by. We got Jade Warrior Halberds. Astromancer, that's the Grace of Kuai Yin. I know it is because I saw the ROR banner for a second. It's a lot of halberds. So, it's a proper Cathay box, it looks like. We're going to try to not interact with it if we can. My opponent's playing very passively. Chaos Knights are what I bring out first, and then we work from there. We're just going to be working backwards, mostly. We need to get our Forsaken over a little bit. So we got the double cap early. We could go for this last objective. And just run over here and see what we can do for a minute. Lord Magistrate, Celestial Dragons. A lot of Celestial Dragon crossbows, and a lot of peasants. It's a freaking huge line. From my opponent. Can we get over here and cap this before he gets here? He's certainly leaving me plenty of time. I don't think there's no nets or anything. Really not opposed to going for it for now. Valkia just needs to stay back and we'll cap it real quick and then run away immediately. We're just out of range. We'll get this point, we'll get a few extra tickets, and then we just build up as much as possible. Let's turn around and get off this point now.
We have a victory point. Keep it from the front.
So Forsaken are going to chill here. We're going to leave the Marauders on the point. We'll get the Minos over for a minute. Take any poke? Nope. All that without taking any damage initially. Really nice. Iron Hail's coming up. So my opponent's definitely going to be doing just like a build-up and then a push in the late game. Really should advance and take the number one. I really don't understand why Scrambled is being so slow to do that. It's just more Iron Hail Gunners coming in. Let's actually push up around the flank. Our engagements will be relatively good in the middle. I'm going to start positioning Blood Beasts out on the edges here. And finally getting up on this objective. Let's actually fly over here and see if we can maybe poke a little bit. Yeah, trying to get the crossbows in range to hit me right now. Love to go hit the Astromancer. What is this? Mark of Yin. So let's just waddle out of range real quick. That's fine. Like, okay. Force my opponent to waste that. And let's start getting more positioned for the inevitable dive. Because the dive will come eventually. When it does, we have to be very discerning about how exactly we take the engagements. We got all these Onyx Chromen coming up. We're gonna get our last Blood Beast, and then we actually I think we get a Bloodletter here. A Bloodletter will be really good for the halberds, actually. What's the range out to the edge here? Let's rotate some stuff over. We got our dudes just like dipping their toe on the edge, keeping Scrambled from taking this. It's taken a long time to do all this. He's just very defensively positioned, and we're like just sitting right out of range of all of the crossbows and stuff. Let me get one more Bloodletter. We used a Blood Beast in the late game for the last little push. Get this Forsaken on the edge of the point too, because he's actually got to scoot the archers forward a little bit before he can do anything. Like, he's slowly flipping this, but we're just gonna touch our toes on the edge, and we'll be okay. We don't have anything to fight with right now with our Minotaurs, so the Minos are probably going to be used to just like bulldoze up into our opponent's backline as best as possible. Might even be able to push into the middle there. Nice volleys, gonna get pushed back some. CJ Lancers coming in. Don't really have a great way in over here. Maybe we can out-muscle that point, and I think maybe we can push now. See what we can do. One more Blood Beast, I think, and then we just take the pedal to the metal fights and see what we can do to squeeze our way up through the formation here. And we actually got up in there on those guys. Let's see if we can make our way around. Minos up into the halberds for a moment, but we're gonna force path them through. Get them up in there. Yeah, look at the frickin' damage on our poor knights, man. They got absolutely massacred. We just need to keep pushing around and see what we can do to get our units force pathed into the middle of the formation. Because if we can force our way in, I think we'll be okay. Because we can get some good fights here. We got a little bit of a fumble going on here. Oh god. I think I needed my, oh no. Yeah, I needed my poor Furies before I did all this. This is a little bit scary. This isn't going great right now, truth be told. Let's get out of the direct AoE of that. Big engagement going on out here. Killing some of the shooting. Oh, we lost our point because I'm a forehead. We need to hold on to that point too. I think I fumbled my dive, and we're going to lose because of that. I think if I play my formation a little bit more carefully next time, then we'll be okay. This was just way too, this was way too haphazard. And I think we get run over here. Kind of winning there. That's fine. Scrapping. We did take this point. We do have some Bloodletters left. What can, actually gonna pop this here? Keep these guys alive as long as possible. Alright, more Furies, why not? Let's get a rear charge here, let's charge down here. Got a bunch of stuff rallying in the back, actually.
Give me glory.
We got one more Sleipnir, which we can use to kill, what remains from my opponent. Sleipnir here actually wouldn't be terrible.
One of your units has been destroyed.
Let's win on the number 2 here. My opponent is going to cap the outside there. I'm going to send these Marauders back there to maybe get that back. Just need to keep killing stuff here. Minotaurs, they can just scrap and fight. Can even get a throwing axe out here. In the absence of having anything else to throw in over there, let's just clean up all the edges here. It's obviously going, this is going about as good as it can, honestly. Like, see, here's the thing. My opponent does have a small value lead, but the big problem is that small value lead is not taking into consideration that my opponent's entire missile line is dead, basically. We're actually going to drop this here and try to nuke these guys out of existence. That's actually pretty devastating. We're still holding on to this point as well. Our bloodletters are doing amazing. They're just chewing through the infantry, which is not super surprising. It's kind of what they do best. We're going to get a rear charge on these peasant horsemen. We're going to maybe be able to kill the magistrate, even. I think we get out another throwing axe and take the middle back here. No, just keep fighting. Scrapping. Okay, we're gonna lose there. Uh-oh. No, not the late game lose. Keep going, guys. Let's use the horsemen to bully these dudes real quick. Let's unsummon here. What do we have infantry-wise? Bloodletters are back in the pool. We just have to summon Furies in, because I don't have anything else, honestly. We get this point? Oh my god, we're so close to getting it. Alright, we did run these guys over. Valkyria needs to run away. She does not want to fight double Celestial Lion. Shoot these Jade Lancers. I think Cathay is just going to take too long to cap the points. Like, these Furies are actually going to clear those Peasant Spears before it gets capped. And the Marauders here, they're just going to get run over by these Lancers, but not before the game is out of reach, I think. Run, run, run. Run, run, run. We'll get the Chaos Knights back out, too. They, like, died to a man, basically. Rotate over here. Let's go over here. Over there. Pop Demon Shield. Keep scrapping here. God damn, I need something on the field, please. Jesus. Oh my god. Super close freaking game, dude. Scramble could have won that if Scramble hadn't have held off of that point for so long. I think I just bring more Bloodletters next time. The Warriors were okay. Forsaken were pretty good. Throwing axes were kind of useless. Here's the thing about Marauder Horsemen throwing axes against factions like Grand Cathay. They're either amazing because your opponent brought something like out of the ordinary, like single entity blob with Mao Ying to like heal it, and then they're amazing against Cathay, or they brought a gun line and they can't do a damn thing, basically. There's not really a whole lot of nuance to how they perform here. My units were okay. Look at the Peasant Spears, dude. Oh, they were vicious. They did better than the frickin' Halberds did, honestly. Celestial Lions were nice. They just weren't decisive. The Onyx Crowmen we actually killed off without too many problems. I would just get rid of these Iron Hail Gunners and get more Jade Lancers, honestly. Iron Hail Gunners are just too vulnerable. Like, Valkyria's Sloupnir one-shotted one of the Iron Hails, and then the other got absolutely mulched by my Forsaken and the Blood Beasts. Yeah, the dive definitely didn't go perfectly, but Egg did take forever to build up and gave me way too much time on all 3 points. The second I didn't go for the triple cap right out the gate should have been the signal to scramble to move up onto that point and immediately establish like a dominant position there. Because the map edge is like really not that far out of the way there. And with all the shooting that Scrambled had, that has like magic damage and tons of AP, there's no way for me to like skim the edge of that, the edge of the map and get around his formation. It would have funneled me into like, you know, a good like 2/3 of the map would have still been open, but it would have made it a little bit more manageable for Cathay to then push up on the middle, instead of sitting off of the point and then repositioning the entire formation up onto the middle. Because that gave me the opportunity to swing the caps on the outsides again. And while my value trading wasn't going horribly, it took forever for me to summon anything back in. Right? Like, y'all saw that I was, like, working with nothing. I was summoning out Furies and, like, some Horsemen. A little bit of cap weight with the Horsemen, but, like, you know, Furies don't have any cap weight. They were doing good damage. But they're pretty vulnerable against Cathay. I really needed infantry for the later stages, and I just didn't really have a whole lot. Part of that is because I was trying to counter, like, mobility Cathay. Those big boxes are definitely a strategy that Cathay can play very well, but you can see some of the problems that they run into against factions like Khorne. Another thing that would have been decent for me is maybe instead of doing 3 Blood Beasts, I just bring 1 Skull Cannon. Because Skull Cannons have good enough range, they stay away from the Celestial Dragon crossbows. And you can drive them in within a distance where they're actually fairly accurate, and I could have shot down some of his missiles and damaged them before the dive, which would have made the dive a lot easier for me. So that's my thinking for the next time. Alright, the final round's going to kick off in a minute. And I'll be playing Beastmen for that. We are probably going to be in the top 4 no matter what now. I think it's going to take a very unfortunate final round for us to end up outside of it. We've got good op points. We've got 3 wins. You know, all of the people who were behind us, like Scrambled, Shaftesbury, and Christopher's, they all have 2 wins, and they've got 5 op points each. And we're guaranteed 3 points here, so we're going to end up with 10, no matter what. Just trying to math it out. I don't think that there's any chance we can't get in. We're playing Circia, Wood Elf main, although I think playing Empire for this round. Although I actually prefer Beastmen Wood Elves than Beastmen Empire, believe it or not. I think the Empire is actually fairly well suited for scrapping with the Beastmen. Set up a lobby. We'll just immediately get into it. What's going on with my mouse? God, dude. I think I need a new mouse, because I feel like it's starting to deteriorate a little bit. It seems to be a little, like, sticky in terms of, like, moving sometimes. I don't know what's going on with it. Maybe I just need to take it apart and do a once-over on the sensor or something. Alright, let's see. We're running the Beastmen for this game. Being nice and evil. Empire? Yeah. Yep. Okay. Bring you over to the matchups right now. So you can see here, you know, Empire is sitting here at 7-4. I don't think it's a super Beastman favored matchup though. Beastmen are just really tricky to play into. They were banned for a long time as well, so honestly a lot of people are just not super experienced playing into them. Because as good as the Beastmen are, they are not one of the more popular factions. They're actually pretty rare to see. Partially because there are a few tournament hosts that ban them pretty regularly, but I don't think they need to be banned. I think they're fairly counterable. The big issue for beating Beastmen is their chariots and their centaurs are just so freaking annoying to kill. And Beastmen can just like throw them out on cooldown basically, because how fast the faction is, right? Like there are times that other factions will straight up not be able to summon units out because all of their stuff's on the field and it's either like dead and it's just gotten back into the reinforcement pool, or it's still running off. Beastmen never have that problem. You either have your stuff run 1,000,000 miles away so you can summon it unsafely immediately, or it dies and it shatters and it runs off really quickly because everything is fast. Yeah, and you've always got at least one unit that you can bring out. It's very rare that the Beastmen are unable to summon stuff. And you can go wide, of course, which is really cool. What's the last map? Let me actually check real quick. Because we just got our opponent ban, which is banning Black Ark. Imperial Ambush or Celestial Lake? We're gonna play Celestial Lake. I mean, Imperial Ambush is a pretty good map for the Beastmen because I think it does have aggressive vanguards that you can summon your units out quickly on. The problem with that map is that you can get pushed back by artillery pretty badly. I would like to try and avoid that, and I think Crystal Lake will make it a little bit more likely that we're able to get in on the Empire's formation. Which is going to be my overwhelming concern for this game. I don't want to get stuffed back. What are we doing Lord-wise? Empire, what do we need? There's a lot of things that we could bring. Oh, come on, I'm that freaking close to fitting him in. Alright, there we go. We got him. Get one of these guys. want a you in reserve. Definitely a couple of them. We don't want those guys. I think I actually want these. What's the utility it provides? I don't think I need that. Some of them. A couple of them. And for my final trick, alright, fine, I'll bring one. Oh, hold on. Hold on, guys. Just spotted something potentially very interesting that I could bring here. It's gonna work against Circia, though. That I don't think so. I don't think Circia is gonna fall for that. You know what? You know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do 4 of these things. Sure. Alright, guys. Let's get into it. So we brought 4 Razorgore herds. All of them are in reserve right now. We're not doing any mobility out the gates. You don't really need to as the Beastmen. You're usually able to get up to the objectives faster than your opponent anyways. We're going to try and take the number 2 and the number 1 right out the gates. And we're going to make sure that the Empire can't sneak anything up through the woods onto the number 1 objective or anything. And we're going to go for a numbers build, basically. And the idea is that the Empire is not going to be able to shoot us off the points, and they're not going to be able to push us off with their own numbers. And we'll find a way into their squishy stuff with enough time and patience. This thing does have woodsman. Chariot in the trees. Chariot in the trees. Let's go. Okay. Tree Chariot is kind of trolly. Like, it's going to be full speed up in there. Like, absolutely no fears for it. It'll be able to run away from any problems. The one bad thing about Wargore is they don't have Vanguard deployment. I guess in terms of issues for 600 gold characters really isn't a bad one at all. I mean, you can still get up on your opponent pretty fast. Ogre herd, screening every edge pretty much. Just try and make sure that our formation is somewhat staggered for any burning heads that might be incoming. I'd be shocked if we didn't see burning head, guys. I mean, I would be floored, in fact. It's incredibly unlikely that it's not available. We're going to actually not do anything too silly with the Ravagers. Sometimes it's worth using them to, like, flank around the map, but I think it's better if we keep them closer in. They still have stalk. I mean, if Circia isn't, like, really locked in on paying attention to the trees, we could get them up and get them into the back line through the forest anyways. And they're really nice. Blackhorn's Ravagers are actually obnoxiously tough to kill. They grind for days. They're crazy strong. And they look cool as hell. I mean, they got this, like, really, really, like, deep, blackish green color to them. Which is sick. I love them to death. One of my favorite looking, gore units. Malagor actually cannot hide anymore. He lost the ability, a little while ago. What? Oh. Oh, we're supposed to be on Celestial Lake, not Crystal Lake. Whoops. I'm so dumb, guys. Hold on. I gotta completely revamp this. I was wondering why Circuit was taking so long to ready up. That would be why. So we're supposed... Okay, we are playing on Celestial Lake, so let's get in there. I'm gonna ignore the build. Let me just screenshot my own. Oh, fuck. What am I doing? Let me rejoin my own, lobby. Because I'm a dummy. Oh, it's so annoying. I got rid of my build. And now I gotta remake the whole fucking thing. Because I'm a goofus. Alright, one sec, guys. I had the Chariot, and what was the last 1100 gold? Blackhorn's Ravagers. I guess I had one more of those guys. Seems about right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. And then I had 2 of these guys. What was my last 1000 gold? It was 2 Harpies. Okay. We gotta rep our proper tribe. Okay, okay, okay. Sorry about that. False start, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it going for real this time. Okay, well, we're not going to be able to get up there instantly, but we still do have fairly aggressive vanguards here. Though, I think we still want our Zangors to be the front line. The Spears are going to try their very best to keep my Unger Raiders alive. Unger Raiders are really strong, guys. They fill everything with arrows and just absolutely dominate if your opponent does not do anything to directly counter them. Where's my shield Ungors? They're gonna go up on this point, actually. And this one will kind of be like a mid-ground reserve unit. I think I'll trot it over there as well. The Blackhorn's Ravagers may go for the flank. I didn't pay attention to what my opponent's build was. Actually, they'll be in Group 5. And then my infantry are going to be a Group 3. I'll muscle them in the right way. As soon as the battle kicks off, it's a pretty small reinforcement army. Only 11 units in reserve. I've got 13. I think I've got the right kinds of answers for it all. Razorgore Herd are going to be really good against the heavy knights. Centaurs will be good against any infantry. Grog Hooves and the Centaur throwing axes are for killing, they're for killing knights, they're for shooting up infantry if it's like great swords or something like that. They can also go for big dragon characters, of course. It's really what the throwing axes are built to kill. Okay. Circe is ready, so let's get it going. Let's finally get our business rolling. What kind of army do we have here? Light Wizard. Amber Wizard on a Griffin. No way, dude. Okay. It's a lot of infantry. I'm really not that afraid of the infantry build. These mobility deficient builds against the Beastmen really actually are kind of terrible and a huge liability because the Beastmen love bullying stuff like this. It's really not nearly as difficult as you think. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You got Marcus. Let's get out of here. Just gonna chill for a little bit. We're gonna get our points. We're gonna start getting a little bit of a lead. What do we need first? Out the gate. Wargors are also really fun because they beat the absolute shit out of every foot character in the game. So, we're 100% gonna kill Marcus here, is the goal. My opponent is gonna use the, Griffin to try and attack my spears, maybe. Let's get out of here. My opponent's being very patient. At the, we're being patient ourselves. We're not overextending anywhere. See what we can do with our Wargors here. Those are great swords. So we don't want to leave the Wargors to get attacked by the great swords. Where's my opponent's archers? They're all up in there. They're just chilling. We're fine with this for now. This is where chariots come up, and they're going to start getting real ham on my opponent's units. Gets the snare, but that's okay. Charging in. We're gonna push the back here. Let's get the Blackhorns Ravagers over there as well. Let's get some more Senties up. We will get this guy over. Okay. So where are my chariots? They're fine. They're just gonna pull out now. This is an unholy blob to hit with what we've got here. We're actually gonna rear charge the Spearmen. Let's get in there. Let's pull back. Charge this guy down. See if we can get the Wargors into kill Marcus Wolfheart now. I actually use Malagor to do that too. He's pretty good at killing characters, believe it or not. Let's get these guys in. Ungors are poking and doing whatever damage they can do. It's a very dense build. We're gonna get another disgusting Flock of Doom off. Let's get our Grog Hooves out of there if we can. It's not going great for them right now. Oh, they get Terror Routed too. Oh, shit, okay. Terror Route's looking a little scary, and for whatever reason, Malagor didn't want to cast his spell. We got Senties doing what they can. A lot of units just running away right now. Circe's build is really cool, quite honestly. I'm not prepared for it. It's actually a lot stickier and more dangerous than what I was gearing up for. The Knights of the Black Rose are a really good addition. They've just got crazy durable stats, so they're not breaking anytime soon. And the big old Griffin has been an issue for me. I got a breakthrough over there with a bunch of stuff. He's got Flocks of Doom going down that are punishing me really badly. Let's get Razorgores in. Just need to break these great swords down. Let's make sure Malagor doesn't die. The Wargores are grinding pretty well, actually. Come on, dude, get in there. Cast your freaking spells, bud. I need you to do something. Okay, we have gotten a nice little break there. And maybe this is where we can start to flip this around. Because it doesn't look good. We're down on value. Our opponent is kind of all over us a little bit. He's got another really nice Flock of Doom going off. I just need Mally to not die here. If he doesn't die, maybe we'll be fine. Another huge Flock of Doom. Wargore's gonna get up in here. Let's drag down the Knights of the Black Rose and keep trying to compromise this back line. Centaurs just need to keep pushing there. Oh wow. Oh no. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Empire. Dude, Beastmen are so crazy. Right, my opponent's not doing anything over here. Our Ungol Raiders have been kind of a nightmare, honestly. There's a Knight of the Black Rose out here on this flank. We're going to keep pushing. We're going to kill Marcus here, I think. Yeah, we're pulling the value back for sure. Which is gigantic. We're going to pop a Flock of Doom here. Oh my god, 1500 value. We're not even close to having used all of our spellcasting either. We're just going to keep pouring Razorgore Herd out here. Let's get around this flank and charge these guys down. Let's get back. This Enfeebling Foe is really good. I'm going to sit here and fight for a sec. The Groghooves have actually been pretty important here because they're proving to be really hard to break down and giving me a lot of time to just like consistently like rally forces forward and find ways to continue to compromise my opponent's units. We are definitely going to kill Marcus. He just died, so big leadership problems incoming for the Empire while we're sitting pretty here with our scary boys. We're just like running all over the remainder of this Empire army at this point. The Knights of the Black Rose are really good early, but now they've run into a whole bunch of problems. Okay, so here's another thing to keep in mind. Malagor, that entire game, is casting Enfeebling Foe and Flock of Doom, and he got 1500 value by himself. And he's a lot cheaper than this Amber Wizard. And after the Great Swords went down, there was nothing to beat any of my infantry. Like, I just had equal numbers on the field, and my opponent's archers were not really able to swing the difference. The Razorgore Chariots still got respectable value. Centaurs were a little mediocre, but the Razorgore Herd in the late game were cleaning up a lot of units. They were doing big damage. And we were kind of just able to outlast, and my units were fresh because of the Bestial Surge, which is just absolutely insane. It's so powerful. Bestial Surge reduces vigor and raises charge bonus, so all of my dudes were just going nuts for the mid-game there. And the Wargores kind of carried me, because they just absolutely bullied Marcus, and you can send stuff in to fight them, but they're insanely durable for 600 gold. They literally do not give a rat's ass about being attacked by, like, medium cavalry or anything short of like a proper AP anti-infantry unit. You just keep them together and they will farm value for you. You got 80 armor, decent leadership, they encourage one another, which means that they get a little bit of a buff to that as well. You can bring Will of the Dark Gods, that's an okay ability. Sometimes I mix it in. It probably would have been really good for that game, but I'd already made my army, I didn't want to, you know, switch it up. I didn't feel like that would be very fair. And yeah, I mean, good melee attack, good melee defense, great weapon strength for a foot character. They're better than the cultists of Khorne. Like, Khorne cultists are a very similar character and cost significantly more. Like, stripped down, they're 700, which isn't bad, but you really want the Bloodletter summon, which is also really strong. And the anti-infantry bonus that the Wargors have just pushes them over the top. Combined with the fact that they're a relatively high leadership unit with Primal Fury, which makes them ITP, they're a mess. They are an absolute nuisance. Yeah, the backpoint steal probably should have done it, but I just really wanted the Blackhorn's Ravagers up into his backline where they were kind of constricting the Empire's, like, missiles. He had to commit a, he committed one of the Knights of Black Roses onto that back pressure. Like, this is a 1,250 gold unit, and they were doing good damage to the Blackhorn's Ravagers, but I was able to, click these guys off of the infantry they were engaged on, so they didn't get rear charged. They actually turned around and ate the charge from the Knights, which sucked. They took a bunch of damage in the process, but then they just held, because they got 72 leadership and rowdy and perfect vigor, and they are difficult to kill. And they've got woodsmen, so they were fighting in the trees while the Knights of the Black Rose were losing a bunch of melee attack. And with them getting the bonus versus infantry, but then losing 20% of their melee attack, they're not actually hitting the Blackhorn's Ravagers all that often when they're in a grind fight. Like, they will kill those Gores, but it's going to take a lot longer than it would seem otherwise. These guys are really not super well suited for fighting the Beastmen in my experience. They're insanely durable, yeah. But for the Beastmen, I honestly think that just a bunch of Empire Knights is outright better, because Empire Knights beat Senegors on the charge with all the armor that they have. And you don't really want to grind against Beastmen units, especially when you've got Malagor, like, smacking you with Flock of Doom and Enfeebling Foe on cooldown. It makes your life pretty hellacious as one of those super elite heavy cav. Let's go. Okay. So we got a clean top 4 as well. Let me bring you over to it real quick. What's going on here? Oh, pinging for top 4. Oh, so it's me and Shaftesbury. Shaft probably playing Lizardmen. Yeah. Wow, we get another Khorne mirror match? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my god, dude. Alright, guys. You saw it once, get ready for, we saw first mirror match, but what about second mirror match, guys? I think we can fit another one in here. Just out of the kindness in my heart, we're gonna end up playing another one. What are the maps? Changer's Madhouse, Eastern Isle Colony, and Norskin Rise. Okay. So if we win, we will be playing Beastmen for the finals, and we'll be playing into... we'll either be playing another mirror match if Scrambled wins, or we'll be playing against Circia's Empire again, which would be really interesting. I think Circia would have done better if Circia had just committed to more Knights. I just don't like the prowess of the Knights of the Black Rose against Beastmen. There's just too many units that the Beastmen have that win against them on the charge. And they'll get swamped in numbers eventually. You know, the Empire usually has good engagements for their cavalry because they are the ones pouring numbers out onto the field to, like, occupy all your opponent's units. And then you get free charges on the flanks. Against the Beastmen, though, that is just not the case. And your infantry, pound for pound, are worse. Because the Empire State Troopers are very flimsy on resolve. Just because they're not ITP. I didn't have any terror-causing monsters in that game, which helped Nerexa out. I'd probably mix something in next time to get that. Should probably just focus up on what we're doing here now. Alright, we got an Eastern Isle Colony ban. Let's play Changer's Madhouse. That's actually a pretty fun map. So, Corn v. Corn. Let's see who's cornier. Guarantee you it's me. Pound for pound, I'm the cheesiest fellow around, for sure. Just do one. Do some of these. Okay, cool. One sec, guys. Let me move you over so you can see the top 4 bracket. There you go. Oh, let's do it. Oh, no. Okay, guys. I'm gonna do something a little silly. I might be throwing by bringing this unit. I would not recommend it. But I want to play with something different. So with that in mind, we're going to be running it, and we're going to see what we can do with it, because it'll be hilarious. Ah, fuck it, we'll do this. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The dreaded chevroned Marauder will carry me in this game. Although, if we're bringing this bad boy, you know what? I like it. Who will reign supreme as the Lord of Corn this day? We shall see. We shall see indeed. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. It was a grind getting there. We had some odd moments for sure. I definitely have not been the sharpest that I could have been on some of my like micro, but I think what's been doing me really doing most of the heavy lifting for me is the army building has gone really well for me. I think I've done a pretty good job of detailing my builds for who I'm playing, as much as the faction that I'm playing against, which is really important. If you call out your opponent and get a read on what kind of units that they tend to favor and the kind of like off-the-wall strategies they go for, you can really get in their head and get an edge just like right off the bat by army building to like counter them playstyle wise. The other thing that's been going really well is I've just done a really good job of positioning my forces. I've mostly avoided unnecessary damage in those games that we've been playing. That first game we had a scary moment with Scarbrand against Scrambled Eggs Grand Cathay. We had a scary moment when my initial dive went in. But we were able to rally. We were very fortunate to be playing the objectives well in both of those games. Or at least in the Grand Cathay game. And then against the Empire, we were able to scrap our way back in. It looked really bad for a minute there. I brought a Soul Grinder. Actually, unironically, a good unit. I don't know how well it's going to do in the mirror match, but I am 100% going to try and make it work. The reason I brought it is, I gave it a bunch of chevrons. I just cut some of the abilities on Scarbrand. I got Slaughter and Carnage, got Bellow of Endless Fury. We're going to skirmish a bunch and play for value early on. The Soul Grinder has good range and does a ton of damage with its ammunition. And it fires quick as hell, too. Every 4.7 seconds it's going to be firing a shot off, and it's got really good melee attack and weapon strength. This thing hits like a truck if it gets good engagements. So, we're going to be doing our very best to farm value with it. It can brutalize enemy skirmish cav, as well as just shoot down elite infantry with the ammo, because it's got a ton. And like I said, it actually does a surprising amount of damage with each shot. And it's got 3 projectiles on it, each of them doing 120 damage. Which is significant, because 120 damage, there aren't a lot of, like, you know, infantry in the game that can eat shots from this cannon, and they don't die outright. And with 3 projectiles, like, cleaving through formations, you can actually get a lot of model kills, especially if you get it on the side of units. We'll see about it. Alright, feel like have fun. We're ready. Did I swap back over? I sure did, okay. Damn. I just have a 2-minute delay on, so give it a second, guys. You'll be in, you'll see what I'm on about. Y'all are a little bit behind. Hellforge Bellower, Marauders, a lot of throwing axes, and quite a few Fleshhounds from my opponent as well.
Keep it from the foe.
Which is fine. I'm just gonna bring my Minotaurs out, and they'll do a lot of work. Alright, Shaft's coming full bore for me, which is fine. So we're gonna pop our Rampage here, and we're gonna punish the Fleshhounds now. I'm gonna use one Horseman over there to screen out those two. And we're gonna go full tilt to keep these guys away from this fight. And now we are just gonna engage, and we're gonna get a big win here. Now our Marauders come forward and stop our opponent. We countercharge this. And now Scarbrand and the Soul Grinder are just gonna go crazy the rest of this game. That was 1,500 value, mind you guys. That's a lot to lose in the early game. And our horsemen are very healthy. They're gonna be pretty beast mode here. Alright, that Sloughnir was really not that damaging. Get a little damage here. Just gonna chill. And go bully the Marauders over here. My opponent can shoot me here all he wants. Actually send our horsemen over to go shoot over there. Use our infantry a little aggressively here. Alright, let's get Scarbrand out of here. Don't need to be eating a bunch of throwing axe damage. Oh, and our opponent made a big mistake here. Hellforge Bellower took a lot of unnecessary damage, actually. Let's follow this up. Let's get a Blood Beast out. Let's post one Marauder up on the flank there. Let's get back. We can just have the Soul Grinders sit and poke for a little bit. Oh, these are Chosen, so we're gonna run away, actually. Chosen are just gonna absolutely annihilate Marauders. I'd prefer to not have to take that fight, if possible. And this is where the Soul Grinder is gonna be really good, right? We're gonna breath attack these dudes also. This is gonna fuck them up. Oh, baby. Yes! Tons of value. Get these guys blobbed up. I'm gonna run in. Throw a bunch of axes in here. Soul Grinder coming in. We got our dudes here. Let's run in. Furies are chilling. See if we can get out of here now. We should be able to escape. We got a bunch of infantry on the way in. And our Blood Beasts are on the way. Actually get a really nice terror route going down. We're going to use the Marauders to continue chasing those, whatchamacallits, my opponent's units. We're going to get out of here with the Minos and go kill the Hellforge Bellower now. We'll kill these guys. Oh, we got the Hounds of the Blood Hunt that I completely forgot about here. That's annoying. It's okay, though. What do we need? Another Blood Beast, probably. Yeah, Scarbrand and the Soul Grinder are murdering Valkia right now, which is great for me. We keep chasing. Little unfortunate over there, but we finally caught that damn Soul Grinder. My horsemen are getting folded up a little bit. Let's see if we can kill Valkia, though. Just having a hard time escaping. It's getting a little sketchy for me. My opponent's done a pretty good job here of blasting my infantry down. I'm gonna rotate over. Now we got our hounds in there. They're doing pretty good work. Soul Grinder's gonna keep going here. We got Rage Embodied now. So Valkia has to fight me now. Hopefully we win here. Damn, dude, it's going a little, it's getting a little sketchy for me. Let's get out of there. The Soul Grinder has been okay. It's actually, in a lot of trouble here. Let's see if we can get, Scarbrand out. Let's get my dudes over. Bloodletter's gonna come out, run away. Soul Grinder needs to not be fighting Corngors right now. Let's try and get these guys out. Let's get over here. Let's just full retreat for a moment. And see what we can do in the late game. Guys, it's very possible that I lose this one here because I brought the Soul Grinder. I think I may have been a little over-ambitious with it. It's proving to be a little bit of a liability right now. Let's get up in here. We got the Minos fighting over there, doing some pretty good damage. We got Bloodletters coming in. We got another Bloodletter. We got a very small value lead. We do have the chance to win this game, of course. I mean, you're never out of it until it's all over, right? We're gonna get the fattest Horn of Corn of all time here. This is the end game for us. I'm gonna get another Bloodletter, because my opponent brought a bunch of Corngors out. Like, a absolute fuckload. Now we're crumbling a whole bunch of stuff. We've got Soul Grinder being attacked by Valkia again. We're gonna pop our Rampage and try and get away from her. Come on, Soul Grinder, get out of there, buddy. We just don't want to be fighting Corngors with big stuff. We're using our mass here to just disengage. And the Hounds of the Bloodhunter are going to come in. Actually forgetting about them for a little bit was huge for me, because it's actually helping me pretty tremendously in the late game. I'll just keep hounding these guys. Soul Grinder is going to get away. We're going to countercharge these dudes. And we're just going to deny the game-winning gambit on our boy. Because those Minotaurs are coming after Scarbrand 100%. It's kind of what my opponent has to do now. Because we've got a pretty convincing victory here, if we can just kill these Minotaurs. And dude, the Soul Grinder was actually kind of an asshole. It was really annoying for my opponent to deal with. Valkia has had good fights against it. She's actually able to do damage to it. But we just got too much infantry on the field now. No. You need to go chase this down. I'm gonna get a Fury out. We just need to kill those Minos. These Bloodletters are going to engage the Furies now. How healthy are these guys? They're fairly healthy, so I should chase them all the way off. Now we pop this. Keep chasing those Corngors. We'll get up in here. Just make sure my opponent can't disengage. Scarbrand didn't get a lot of value. That's not, again, that's not really what he's supposed to do here. All those tattered Marauders just going to charge in. Some throwing axes. These guys need to be unsummoned. I mean, I would really rather my units just, like, die to a man than constantly be forced to engage my opponent. Or constantly unsummoning them and not having the utility of tattered units blocking my opponent's stuff up. Chosen did not get any value, hardly. And what do the Bloodletters do? Get in there! Kill Valkia, please. Begging you. Let's charge these guys down. This is where Scarbrand gets a charge attack off on her, and she just dies. She gets folded up there. Minos are fighting Bloodletters, and we're winning there. We're gonna just summon a bunch of horsemen out.
I knew it. Unending glory is yours.
That's a big yeehaw. That was really well played by my opponent. Shaft had me on the back foot there for a little bit. But we rallied really well in the mid-game. And the Hellforge Bellower just didn't get any value. We killed it with our Minotaurs, and that was a huge loss for my opponent to take. There was not a lot of ways back in after that. He did a pretty good job of doing so, but it was a little too much. The throwing axes on his side were vicious. A lot of value on them. The Furies were okay the first time around, but the second summon of Furies was just not getting it done. I had too many Bloodletters on the field by that point, and they were really farming up my opponent. Yeah, don't worry about my my replay names. I know what they mean to me, you know. Alright, folks. We are in the finals. Crazy. I really didn't think I was going to make it here. See if we can actually close it out with a win, though. That's always the, that's always my biggest failing. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten to finals and lost. I think I have, like, a 20% win rate in finals matches. It's pretty abysmal. I don't know what it is. Something about finals games, I just completely fall off in terms of what I'm doing. Scrambled and Sturkey are still playing. How did Chosen do against Bloodletters? I actually really want to see this, because I was just going quiet to chat with my opponent for a minute there. I really want to see how this 1v1 goes. I wish that they just had an arena mode with a tiny-ass map where 2 units could just square off, no questions asked. There is a mod that I have, but I don't want to have to reboot the whole freaking game to do that. It's very annoying. So we're gonna do this the old-fashioned way. Actually, I'm gonna take the Bloodletter, and the computer's taking the Chosen, because the computer will be patient with the Chosen. Just wait. Really, I just want to see how Bloodletters do in a sustained fight against Chosen. Let's just run them up in there and see what happens. Chosen should pretty easily beat a Bloodletter. I mean, their stats are just so much better. They are miles above a Bloodletter in combat prowess. The AP on the Bloodletters is really strong against most armored infantry, but once they start getting to a deficit in terms of their melee attack versus the opponent's melee defense, that's where shit really gets out of hand. Because their melee defense, the Bloodletter's melee defense, is horrible. 26 is piss poor, honestly. Yeah, the charge going pretty well for the Bloodletters, not super surprising, but the Chosen immediately start flipping the fight around. I'm really glad I had the Soul Grinder to kill the Chosen in that last game, honestly. Because Scarbrand's breath attack was pretty devastating to the Chosen. But the Soul Grinder's scatter shot was doing a lot of work against them, too. I'm definitely going to need to go back and replay it just to see it again. Yeah, Chosen pretty comfortably clear this. With just decent support, they can probably get through, like, probably another 2 Bloodletters. And the thing about fighting demonic units is that you can't really trust the value trades. They always look a little worse than they really are. Because demons crumble out, so these guys did get 800 value. They get another kill on another Bloodletter, and they've, you know, gotten more than they're worth in. And then they're really hard to shoot down with Marauder Horsemen. That's kind of what Shaft was going for with bringing that shielded Chosen unit. And it could have worked. It really could have. Alright, let's just make our lobby and then we'll chill. I don't know which of the 2 we'll be playing against. So they're still in-game. I'm gonna ask them for the replay, because me and Shaft played a pretty... well, I guess, I mean, it is Khorne. We did take really early fights. It didn't go that long, I guess. They're probably taking a little bit of extra time as well for some other stuff. Actually, I'm gonna get up in here, and I want to see what the Soul Grinder was doing damage-wise with the scatter shot. Because it definitely got some good damage in melee as well. I just need to know where its best performance was. And I probably should have played a little more defensively with it. The Soul Grinder of Khorne isn't really the kind of monster you want to run out in front of your infantry aggressively, and I did do that a couple of times to my own detriment. I think if I hadn't have done that, it would have lasted a lot longer. Performance was good enough as is, though.
Keep it from the foe.
You see lots of little buffs going in here, getting it up to 82 leadership, which is really nice. Just skirmishing a little bit, and then my opponent It's just a little too loosey-goosey with the Flesh Hounds. Like, you just can't get away with stuff like this, you know? Like, you're trying to get in on already decent melee fighters. And you're just that close to Scarbrand. You shouldn't commit here. And then you'd be okay, because you can just, like, pull the Flesh Hounds back and you still got the number 2. And if you have these... If Shaft had those Flesh Hounds, I'd have had to be incredibly discerning with my positioning on the infantry, and the Hellforged Bellers would have been very free to just drive in and just start blowing me up, because I wouldn't have had any way to push back there with the throwing axes to try and shoot it down. Yeah, good damage onto the Soul Grinder from the throwing axes, same onto Scarbrand, who's taking a little damage. Crumbling out both of these Flesh Hounds is just so huge, though. Because they're both really trapped up in here. There's nowhere for them to go, and we get a little damage out here in this fight as well. Very nice jump. Pulling back, making sure we get the kills here. Soul Grinder and Scarbrand. 350 and 188. Not bad. Nothing crazy, though. I don't know how I didn't clock that Chosen was on the field from the start. No message from opponents. Sloupnir, that's okay. It's not that much damage on a Sloupnir. Being patient with Sloupnir is also really important, because right here is a much better target for it. You'll get a lot of damage onto those Marauders who are very bunched up and lined up, just waiting to get nailed. Good retreat for my opponent, playing patiently with the infantry and the Soul Grinder, continuing to kill models. Just not devastating damage. This was an overextension from me. There's no reason for me to come out here. I've got the point. I've got the infantry needing to get positioned up. Like, you can see me giving the movement orders now to get them in spots to buffer out my opponent. But it's nothing, like, truly stupendous. My opponent makes a big mistake overextending with the Hellforged Bellers, and the throwing axes get a ton of value in there with that one volley. Did a lot of damage to my own Marauders, though. My god, man, that friendly fire was brutal. Ew. What the hell is wrong with y'all? Why would you do this to me? Here's where we position up to fight the Chosen. I'm still thinking this is a Marauder unit because I'm, you know, the banners look the exact same. I'm just not noticing yet. This is about when I made the call that I needed to retreat. Like, as they get into this fight, I'm immediately, like, clicking just to see what it is, and I'm realizing, oh shit, I need to get out of here. I don't want to just lose the Marauders for nothing. Because trust me, a Chosen will 100% body the Marauders into oblivion. And I wouldn't be taking any damage in return. So pulling back is definitely the right call. Soul Grinder getting a little bit of damage in there. Firing a little wildly. Not getting a ton of kills right off the bat, but we get a really nice shot in there with it. Man, oh man, it's so deadly to those elite infantry. Here's another moment where I probably could have been a little bit safer. I didn't need to dive in here like this. Like, I've got the numbers, sure. It's not looking bad for me, but the throwing axes are pretty safe back here. At least one of them didn't get hit by the Rampage. I really thought I was going to get both. But, you know, one of them sitting just outside of the arc, allowing it to get a bunch of free damage off on Scarbrand, has been pretty painful. And Soul Grinder does get a Terror Route on the Chosen, which is massive. That was a huge moment in the game for me, because these guys, even on 3,800 HP, are still a fairly annoying unit to deal with. Definitely don't want to be allowing them a way to get into the game and start scrapping back value. The Blood Beasts end up fighting the Minotaurs here, and I thought they would be okay with the Marauders there. But it's just not working out great for me. I mean, the Minotaurs are putting down a lot of damage, and the Blood Beasts are faltering a little bit. They do get the Horn, which is really nice. It's allowing me to get some good damage in return. But the Marauder Horsemen get up in there. That's also helping out a lot. And here we get a really nice fight against Valkia. She's getting absolutely manhandled by Scarbrand. The Soul Grinder is being kept out of the fight, though, by Scarbrand right now. Having a little bit of trouble maneuvering it into a position to attack Valkia. Probably should have just left Scarbrand to take this fight and have the Soul Grinder come back to help out. Because you see, losing all the horsemen, the Furies are like running around out here. Are they still not done? One sec, guys. They're still not done. One sec, guys. Let me pause this real quick, and I'll get back into this in a second. Because I just want to make sure that they ping me when they're ready. Okay, we've done our business. So I'm just not catching Valkia. We're like pushing her along. Valkia has this weird problem where like units with a ton of mass and more speed than her on the ground push her along, and she doesn't get hit, but she can't get back up in the air. And it can be a real issue for her at times. My opponent is very fortunate to have these Corngors coming out of the Vanguard here, because I could theoretically push Valkia to the edge of the map and then just kill her. That's kind of what I was thinking here. But on further reflection, bringing the Soul Grinder back to answer the Furies, as well as maybe poke in against the Marauders and the Minotaurs, as well as these Horsemen that are fighting all my infantry, would have been a really good call. Because the Marauder core of mine is just not holding up very well. They're just so weak. They got respectable value, I guess, but nothing crazy, and my opponent is getting a lot of momentum up onto the number 2 as a result. Bloodbeast hanging in, but the Minos over here is still looking pretty healthy. About even on the value trades. And here I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm giving up on attacking Valkia. I don't know what's going on with her here. But then I, have the ability, I pop it here just to get some more damage in. Valkia is just standing around for some reason, not really doing anything. Probably could have gotten one more swing in, and I maybe should have saved the Raged Embodied as well. It just wasn't great damage, but I needed to get out of here. My opponent's got a lot of units like on their way in to try and attack me. It would have really been a good idea for my opponent to try and get the Soul Grinder right about now, because the Soul Grinder is getting mulched by the throwing axes, but the Corngors aren't attacking him right now, even though he's in the middle of them, because they have an attack order on Scarbrand. So Scarbrand just runs away, and as a result, the Soul Grinder gets out scot-free. Valkia comes over to try and attack him. This is where I needed to full retreat. If I had committed into this fight here, I would have immediately lost the game, because my opponent has a massive advantage in terms of numbers and quality of units in here. I mean, you got like the Chosen there. They're, fairly healthy. Or, I mean, they're pretty beat up, but they're healthy enough that they can get some good damage off. You can see their leadership. It's just rock solid, despite only having 39 models, 3,000 HP left. We get a little damage here in this fight. My opponent trying to push past with the Marauder Horsemen, and I get a charge off with mine, even though they're very beat up, because my opponent doesn't have the attack orders in. My guys actually get a decent amount of damage done there. And now I'm swinging around back to the middle, which I didn't lose, by the way. Because I kept the Marauder over here, I was able to reinforce back to the middle with them and get there before my opponent could flip this fight. And the Minotaurs are bulldozing over a lot of stuff. They killed the Hellforged Bellowers out here. My opponent wasn't paying enough attention to it out there. It's better to have the Hellforged Bellowers with your main formation. You gotta be a little careful with when and where you use it to fire against your enemy, because it can shoot your own stuff in the front line sometimes and do a lot of damage to you. But losing it just on the edge of the fight without it getting a bunch of value is never a good thing. And here we're able to get his Minotaurs locked in combat. We've got our guys scrapping away. He's got the Horn of Corn on these Minos. But we're getting some really nice engagements elsewhere now. We got some Tattered Blood Beast moving in with the Hounds, just allowing Scarbrand to escape here. And the Soul Grinder moves back over and is attacking the Minos and the Chosen again, and starting to get a decent amount of value there. Didn't quite pay for itself, but I guess it didn't really need to, considering how much aggro it was pulling from my opponent. And here, this is why I don't like Corngors. Corngors are just really bad at getting overextended. People massively overestimate their prowess. They're a good unit, but if you misposition them, you will absolutely get farmed by people who are keeping their units a little bit better positioned to get after them. Breath Attack, not really doing a whole lot of damage to the Minos. Doing more friendly fire to my Blood Beasts, honestly. Really good Relentless Rage. It's kind of hard to see this popping off in the middle of games. It's allowing these guys to get a little extra value. They're very much on the way out. And this is just my opponent and his army just like completely on the run now. Soul Grinder just chilling. I'm turning it around to get like 1 or 2 hits in on Valkia if possible. It's going to crumble out. Better to get something out of it on the way off. Does get one last swing in, and it chips Valkia down a little bit. And the Blood Beasts also get in on her and are doing some damage to her, which is kind of nice. They got a swing in there. And now we're just going to kill the Furies. They're a little too slow getting to the Minotaurs. My own Fury's going to be making their way in. I'm positioning with Scarbrand to make sure that I get him around the flank, and I can get the Rage Embodied on both of those Fury units. Alright, Scrambled is ready, so I'm going to go jump in with them. We're going to get a Beastmen mirror match here. Pretty sure that's Scrambled Eggs lobby, but just jump in here from there. So it's a Beastman mirror, which is going to be really messy. I have no idea what Scrambled's going to be bringing. So it's just going to be an absolute madhouse, I think. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to flip away for a bit. I'll return to you guys in a moment. Thank you. Thank you, Falling Star. I appreciate it. Very good luck to both of us. 2 duplicitous Beastmen mains. You've never seen such disgusting shenanigans. I don't actually know what lord I want to be bringing here. I actually think this might do pretty well for me. One of these for the late game. More of these dudes, why not? Couple of them. I don't know about that unit. 3,600 gold remaining for the build. Clear. It's pretty heavy hitting. What? Just gonna do this. I get 2 of these guys? Hey, okay, I mean... Seems like something. We'll get them. Nah, that's an overinvestment in that unit. So I need 2 of these. I don't think I do. One of these little guys I actually think will be a pretty good option. Got some antis, some more anti stuff. Got one of these bad boys. I like my build. What map are we banning? We ban Itza? We ban Itza for real? I don't think I do ban Itza. Alright, I'm gonna ban Itza and we'll see what Scrambled wants to play. It's a mirror match, so the maps don't really matter. Don't use similar banners, please. Oh yeah, I'll looks like Scrambled has a pretty nice one selected. I'll try and make sure mine are nice, bright primary colors as well. You're gonna make me rep somebody that isn't the Slaughterhorn tribe or the Blooded Axe tribe? I cannot believe that you're doing this to me. Oh, he's got the map ban. I'm ready. I mean, my build is fine for most maps. I'm not that worried about it. Again, Beastmen not being affected by a lot of terrain helps them pretty tremendously. We'll see if my build works. I don't really know how to play the Beastmen mirror, so we could run into problems. It's just gonna be a wait and see thing. We got to the finals no matter what, and that's honestly a huge accomplishment. If you make it to top 4, that's a big deal. People are really good at this game, guys. You know, So, like, even if you're not getting tournament wins, getting up in there and having a chance to even play for them is really nice. Not to, like, jazz myself up, but, you know, just, like, letting everybody know that you take the wins as they come. As much as you can. Don't get too discouraged by losses. Losses are learning opportunities. More than... You should look on them as more of a learning opportunity than as, like, you know, a time to get a bruised ego about stuff. Because usually losses don't necessarily come down to anything that... Don't necessarily come down to huge mistakes that you made. It's usually like the 1 or 2 plays that define a game. Or maybe I shouldn't say 1 or 2 plays. There's like moments where there are like branching outcomes that can lead to you bleeding a bunch of value to your opponent, or either getting a bunch in return on them, or just denying them the opportunity to get the value trades they're looking for. It's all about juggling that, and if you're able to do that in this game, you're able to swing back on your opponent when they're pulled out of position because they were overpressing, that's when you can get some huge wins. Alright. We're just waiting. We'll be ready to go whenever Scrambled's done with the army building here. There's a couple of things I'm worried about with my build. Hopefully, though, the things that I did bring out of the gate as my half measures are able to keep me alive until I'm able to develop out the more, like, top-tier answers. Anything else change in here? Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about some of these other adjustments to the game. So yeah, we mentioned Alariel and the Minotaurs. Mornhowl, I don't know who this is. I think it's a Norska extended roster thing. Marcus Lanesh being added to Caress. I had no idea that these two... Oh, and Mark of Zinshan Zarevic. I had no idea these characters didn't have their marks. That is a revelation to me. Cultist has the correct a health value. I have no idea what it was before, and I don't know what it is now, so thank you. Amazing patch note. That's very descriptive. Abilities granted for summoned units are now properly enabled. What summoned effects are skink? Summon Skink Priest. How do you summon a Skink Priest? Okay. Krell has a summon for multiplayer. I don't know how you summon a Keeper of Secrets. This is also like kind of multiplayer and campaign stuff. Celestial General having Fear on Alonga is actually kind of huge, and the Drugina getting fire while moving is massive. That's a big plus for him. He didn't have it previously, and it was a big problem for him. Him being able to run and shoot is going to be really massive for his value trading, because his missile hits fairly hard. It's got a good bonus versus large, and he can get a lot of value, but when he's on the Warhorse and he's forced to sit in order to get that damage done, that's a little frustrating. Makes him a little too vulnerable, in my opinion. Now you'll be able to maneuver him around and actually poke a lot more aggressively. Thunder Tusk and Amble Peaks cause fear and terror. Oh, great. Not that Thunder Tusks needed any kind of buff. The Amble Peak Greybacks did need that. Here's the Seeker changes. Same with the Hellstriders. They also had... They had the same change. Only the Seekers lost melee attack and weapon strength. The Hellstriders just got the larger models. Ashen Maneater's Ogre Charge, which is cool. Single entity units can stop fighting during duels. I see that all the time. I don't know if that's really something that they're going to fix with just like a couple of changes. I very much doubt it, honestly. Because it's not always that the models are just not attacking one another. They get pushed away from each other in fights all the time. Whenever there's like big blobs developing, and I think that's what the big issue is that they lose their target focus. Not that they're not able to do it. Maybe they fix the actual targeting priority and it'll be better. Grudge Rakers now match the range of the unit variant. Okay. And Ixchia's Triads now correctly gain the Unspottable attribute when using their ability. That's a nice little adjustment. I didn't know that was a problem, but I'm glad to see that they are aware of some of the stuff that otherwise might not get picked up on. Era, those are just blah blah blah. Pestigores were noticeably taller than their counterparts. Okay. That's a fun bug, though. You don't need to change that. I think Scrambled stepped away for a sec. I'm just pinging him to remind him that I'm ready. And we should be kicking it off in a moment here. Won't be too much longer. Yeah, the Greenskins getting their Wa ability added back onto these sub-factions is nice. I don't know why it was messed up before. I don't know how it could possibly have been messed up. I mean, in the past, sub-factions really were unique factions. Now you just select banners, and it doesn't change anything other than color schemes. Which is fine. I don't think we needed distinct sub-factions anymore, honestly. People really want to allow some of the extended roster stuff, they can just do that on their own time. So, thank you, CA, for adjusting that. It's kind of silly that a couple of the Greenskin sub-factions didn't have access to their biggest, like, force multiplier. That's a little goofy. Hopefully it's not a problem anymore in the future. And that's it. Just, you know, the typical disclaimers and the thanks and whatnots. Performance. Oh, the other big one was they made the game smaller, which is awesome. That was very, very generous of CA to go through and compress files. Because that is something that most companies just do not do, and it is terrible because game bloat is real, folks. It is very real, and it is absolutely brutal. God, man, like, Call of Duty Warzone is like 200 gigabytes now, and a lot of it is audio files that you can't really compress. But a lot of it is also just them not caring about optimizing the amount of space that the game takes up. Which is really frustrating, because it's not literally everybody's first choice of game. It's nice to have the ability to have other stuff installed, so you have to wait for frickin' eons to download something that you can then pick up and play. Here we go. We're in game now. Rant over. I'm ready. Let's see what we can do against the mighty Scrambled Egg Special. Depending on what he brought, we might have a very clear-cut answer to his build. We'll see, though. We will see. Holy shit, he brought 6 units. What is bro scheming, then? Let's be smart about this. He's going for 6 units. What we need to do is immediately grab all the objectives, because we Vanguard right up on these points. There's no reason for us to not cap the objectives here. And our Unger Raiders are probably going to need to put in a bunch of work. That's kind of the goal here. I love the 6-unit army. It's honestly not a bad strategy to do stuff like this. Scrambled Egg is really good with these builds, by the way. Absolutely menacing trying to go for strategies like this. So what we're going to do is gear ourselves up to play as skirmishy and kitey as possible. We don't have any throwing axes, which is going to be a problem. But we are going to be able to maneuver around very effectively and take really decisive engagements. I've got Enfeebling Foe, I've got Flock of Doom. We're still going to be able to dominate the wings of the battlefield, probably. We're going to be able to bring our Centaurs out at the same pace as Scrambled Egg, and that's probably going to be the #1 priority for me the entire game. So let's just see what we can do. I keep one Razor Gore over here. We just need mass to stop wherever the scary stuff is going. Okay, it's like all over here right now. Gonna get a little bit of damage on me. We're gonna get out of here. There's no way we can win that. There's no reason to try and win that either. We're gonna just take our points and we're gonna get geared up for fights elsewhere. Let's just get out of here. Run, boys. Get the bug out of here. Let's push the Unger Raiders forward. Get some of our infantry in position to do something. We might just sack this one Zangor. I don't think they're going to escape from all of this stuff anyways. We might be able to get a little bit of poke in here. God, I want to get a Flock of Doom on all of that. Let's get these guys away. Let's chase. And we're going to bring out Grog Hooves real quick. I'm going to pop a Flock of Doom here and nail both of those units, which is massive for me. Let's fire the Jabber Scythe. Let's get back up in the air and go after this thing and try and pull these guys out and get in position here to help. We'll get both of these spears up and we'll get these guys over. This unit needs to go over there too. Oh no, run! Let's try and escape here. I made a big mistake summoning the Sons of Goros over there. Oh god, no. Oh no. This is scary. This is not good for me. Yeah, my opponent got a big win over there, taking out a bunch of my stuff. We're still struggling to, like, get any of these big monsters, like, under wraps, basically. My opponent's getting a lot of charges in here, and just going absolutely crazy with the Sentis right now. We're poking the Gorgons, but we're not really doing a bunch of damage to them is the problem. Maybe we can peel this Jabber Scythe off, though, now. He's got a big value lead on me right now. Shouldn't have used my ability when I did. Let's get up in there. See these archers forward. Since he's moving in. More Centaurs. Really good charge. Gonna keep going. Let's get out of here. Let's get these guys in. Let's keep attacking the Jabber Scythe for now. Let's get some stuff over there. Alright, my opponent's coming over here. Just keep chasing the Sentis. Chasing after the Sentis. Razor Gore Herd getting attacked, but maybe my dudes can get in over there now. Oh, the Cockatrice got caught. Uh-oh. So the Cockatrice is probably going down here. We lost the Piggies. Our Sentis. And the Cockatrice still can't get up off the ground. Which is really rough. More Centaurs for me. We've got points. My opponent's maneuvering very well between them. Unsummon this stuff. Oh, and my cockatrice got away. It's kind of huge. He's getting ready to charge me into oblivion here. Here's his Malagor. Oh, his Malagor is on the field. How I didn't... I should have been trying to snipe his Malagor from the start is what I really needed to be doing. Not doing that is a little bit of a mistake on my part. Centigor's in here, holding the objectives for now. He's going for an Alpha Strike over there. Just keep running away. Still not getting any fights. We're going to take this engagement here. We're going to pop this here. We're going to try and charge in there and get these Ungor Raiders away. He's just hounding my Ungor Raiders into oblivion. We're going to punish. Really nice Flock of Doom here. Let's go after this. Let's get after this. Just keep fighting here. Let's turn around and shoot the Gorgon if we can. Where's my Cockatrice? My Malagor. They're gonna get back up in the air. It's not looking great, but I'm definitely not out of this. I just don't even want to fight the big monsters, honestly. I mean, I'm not gonna win the engagement. It's just gonna be misery for me. Like, I'm gonna lose those engagements every time. I think we just need to, like, play as patiently as possible and kill his mobility as best we can, man. Just run away, take the fight, and just try and kill this stuff. Get a Hound out, go after those Senties. There's Razorgore herds in. Some of these guys, hounding down a bunch of his stuff here, which is okay. Pop this here. He's taking the point, and the big monsters are still going strong. We have killed most of his mobility, though, now. We just hold these points, then? Maybe we're fine. We gotta win over here, though. Oh, man. Whoops. Some of his Senties have been okay. Let's get the charge here. Okay. Just keep flying around. He's gonna take this points. How are we doing on the tickets? We're doing okay, but we need to get the number 3 if we can. We still need to get rid of some of his Senties. He's got a bunch of Razorgore herd coming out onto the field. Bring a Gore herd over to get the number 3. I think we're gonna lose this game because I just played this really poorly. We got a Zangor off in the middle of nowhere. You know, and summon this stuff. I'm just not sharp enough for this right now. My micro has been pretty lackluster. And this is going to be all on me, basically. Poor infantry is just getting absolutely bullied right now. Oh, no. Ouchies. Yeah, look at those Razorgores, man. They just bulldozed right through me. We still got that side point, but we need to start swinging other points here. Cockatrice has been okay. It's been annoying at the very least. I need to summon Senties out. You know that Scrambled is going to be going for that the rest of this game. I don't know why it just popped Flock of Doom on that one Centaur that's routing a million miles away from me. Oh, but my Malagor is getting his ass kicked. What is going on here? Oh, no. Oh, he got the kill on my lord. Huge, man. Damn. Yeah, Scrambled got me with the goofy build, man. He went really silly and got me real bad there. Oh, man. That's a great... that's a great finals build, honestly. Oh no, the single entity blob. I should have brought a Traderkin caster. If I had brought Traderkin, this whole build would have fallen apart immediately. I really didn't think he was going to go for it, though. He just outplayed me with his Centaurs as well. And my infantry had nothing to do all game, basically. Being able to pull in and out of combat so cleanly, I'm just not able to force him to take any fights on my terms, and I'm just massively overextended my own stuff. So, that's a little unfortunate. Rip. Yeah, Beastmen indeed got the win here. Scrambled played just really well there with the single entity squad. I wasn't going to be able to hold on to the points long enough. The value trading was just so bad for me. If I played better with my Centaurs, then maybe I can win there. That's a big maybe, though. So, it is what it is. I'm telling you, man, I'm cursed in the finals every freaking time this happens to me. Alright, guys. I am super tired. I'm gonna dip out. Thank you for coming to watch the stream. Hope y'all enjoyed. Wish I could have walked home with the win, but it is what it is. I'm definitely going to be a little bit more on guard for something like that next time. A Traderkin caster, I'm just going to keep in reserve just in case. Because those like I said, those shenanigans would have been shut down really hard by it. Alright, so, till then, I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Take care. Be safe. Eat food. Drink water. And go hang out with your friends.